Lindsay lifted up.
I call to order the, what is today, 25th? Planning and zoning, 24th? 24th, Planning and Zoning Committee meeting. May I have a roll call first, please?
Jeff here.
Daryl here.
Lynn here,
Michael here.
Amanda here.
Eric here.
please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So has everybody had the opportunity to read tonight's agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Anything of any question?
No.
No.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda as presented.
I second it.
Okay. Motion by Jeff, second by Daryl, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Approval of tonight's minutes, does anybody have anything? We would like to add, subtract, change, whatever.
No.
May I have a motion, please?
I move that we accept the minutes as presented to us. I move that we accept them.
Okay, may I have a second?
I say.
Motion by Daryl, second by Eric, all in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody have any conflicts of interest on tonight?
No.
Nope. None. Is that a
No.
No.
questionable?
Nope.
Okay,
I'm good.
there are none. Public comments, citizens are invited to make any opening comment. There is nobody here. Madison, is there anybody on Zoom? Okay. Special presentations are limited to 5 minutes. Invited presentations, we have none, correct? Design review and land use public hearings. I have a little something I'd like to say prior to the start of the meeting, if you don't mind. In the interest of being transparent, saving time, and being efficient, I feel you should know that I will not be asking for direction or a vote this evening. We are appointed to represent the residents of this town. There is a lot to cover, and our choices will affect the quality of life for a lot of people in the years to come. Scott said he was saving some of the toughest to last, so he did. So please do not go into tonight's meeting thinking we have to rush through it. I have it on good authority that the meeting can be continued to a later date if necessary. I myself feel there have been concerns raised, and we were told there would possibly be changes made to address them. However, I do not see those changes have been incorporated into this packet as of yet. That relates to lot sizes and mixed-use areas. I am old school. I make sure things are in writing before signing off and agreeing on anything. Therefore, I would like to have suggestions from you as to what you feel we should try to address first this evening and work our way through this from there on. My choice is to start at the beginning of the packet. How does anybody else feel?
Front of the packet's fine.
I also feel that means addressing the zones and the uses. Yes, everybody? Yeah. Okay, thank you. So, and I have lots of questions. Eric, how about if we start at your end tonight?
I don't have anything for right now. Thank you for everything.
Amanda?
A lot of questions.
So, okay. Well, but, okay, can I just get a clarity? So we're gonna start from the top of the packet.
Page 1, yes.
Page 1, and then we're gonna go through, like, if I bring something up in page 1, then we're going to,
Have everybody see if they have questions on page 1.
okay, that sounds good. So, well, and I think it's gonna be starting for me on page 8. So number 1, having the purpose of the zone districts, and reading through those. The one that I had the most questions, or a question on, was on this page 8, Malloy Park mixed use. the last sentence, this zone district also allows for the continuation of all existing land uses. That sentence felt a little bit of out of place in comparison to the other purpose statements for zone districts. And I wanted to understand from staff if that is a requirement because of, from a legal requirement based on the, something 11.
Yes,
I have that as number one question, so.
great question. Matt, certainly jump in anytime, but just as a reminder, Molloy Park, we really didn't have much latitude to change existing purpose statements or any of the uses that are already allowed within their different zone districts. We're not touching Molloy Park.
What are the current uses that are not mentioned in here? Because that's the way it sounds.
Those would show up in the use table.
But the use table is blank.
We're gonna
Yeah,
have a
it
separate
says we're-
section, I see what you're saying, we're gonna have a section that's separate for just the Molloy Park as that was adopted in 2011 and incorporated into our existing zoning code.
Okay.
So-
Because it says they're gonna bring it in, but the last sentence says, the zone district allows for the continuation of all existing land uses. What are the existing land uses?
The mixed-use zone currently has the school, the
Okay.
existing residential units, the trailers, ball fields, so
Fitness center.
fitness center, yeah.
Rec center.
Matt,
So
certainly-
I can offer a little bit of additional context. So this purpose statement comes directly out of the existing code. This is verbatim, the purpose statement that's in the code today. I also noted that last sentence in the purpose statement. We didn't make any changes to it because we talked about for various reasons, mostly because of the annexation agreement for Molloy Park not making any changes really to the existing zoning for Molloy Park. But if it makes sense, I think it's something Scott, we'd have to talk with the town attorney about what latitude we have to modify the purpose statement, but it might be valuable to either get rid of that or clarify or give some examples of existing land uses, so it's not sort of this ambiguous terminology.
I would actually go a little bit further and list the existing land uses so that it's crystal clear what is in. I mean, because I just
Makes sense.
just get them in there in writing, like Lynn said. But if we could list them, that would be great because nobody seems to know.
Well, and I think when we talked about this from the very beginning, is making this easy enough to read for the average person. Let's go back to that statement. That's not something that everybody's gonna be able, I want people to pick this up. It was very difficult, this packet, to go through things and cross from here to there, to this map, to that map, whatever. And I don't see that becoming easier for the average person. Now, whether that's the way it's going to be or whether that straightens out as we go through this, I don't know. But things like that, I'd like to have clarified, if you would, Matt, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Do you have anything else
Oh yeah,
On which page?
on that page?
or just on Molloy. So
Let's just do it.
that page. That page. Okay, so then the next thing is Molloy Park recreation and open space. We collapsed below the usage of recreation, we collapsed it so that it's parks, recreation, open space. It would, for me, if this is not something that we legally have to include, I think we should use that same terminology so it's consistent between the table below and this component of it. So, and that's again for you to ask what we can do in the legal realm, etc. But that was my other on this page. And then the last sentence sorry, why did I highlight that? So the type, so mixed use one, it says the types of uses that are appropriate in MU1 zone district include, but obviously in the table, there's a whole lot more. So I guess I'm just trying to understand, like, are we putting the uses that we would prefer? Is that like what appropriate is, or we're just trying to give some examples?
Just give some examples. Usually a purpose statement is kind of high level. It's, like when you have a mission or vision statement, it's pretty high level, right? And then the table is where the actual list of all
Okay.
the uses.
You have anything on page 8?
And then just another reminder, some of this language for the zone districts that we can touch, other than Molloy Park and Bolts Lake, some of that language is coming from the community plan and trying to merge that with the existing language that we already had in the code for our existing zone districts, and some of the language from the character area descriptions. So we tried to combine those as much as possible, because another one of our goals was to not throw the baby out with the bathwater as far as the character areas and how they were descriptive. So.
I was gonna say, keep it as close to referencing what it used to be as you possibly can, so that people relate.
I agree. Okay, that's it for me on page 8, thanks.
Michael?
I don't have anything till page 10, so. See if anybody has anything on
I
page
have nothing on page 1.
Page 8. Jeff? Okay. Let's go back to Eric. How about page 9? What, set 9?
No, sorry.
Eric, do you have anything on page 9?
So, purpose statement number 1, the sentence that starts with, this zone district allows for mixed-use development that is more auto-oriented and less compact than the mixed-use development in the mixed-use MU1 zone district. For whatever reason, when I read that, I was a little confused on what less compact was intended to be, like why we, because that's a very specific, like, less compact. And so just wanted clarity as to why that language is chosen in the description. And if it's just because it carried over, that's fine. But I just didn't understand what that intent was on that.
Okay.
That's page 9.
That's page 9. It's just a clarification of that. Like, what is less compact? Auto-oriented and less compact.
I think, a qualifier or some additional language or words that would help would be a less compact land use or land pattern or layout of lots. That's what's mean. Larger lots, less compact.
With the building layout?
With the lots and with the building layout. I think that's what is meant by that.
But compact, not dense, not less density.
Doesn't has anything to do with density,
Yeah, okay,
just kind of the physical form of the neighborhood.
okay.
But Matt, do you have any thoughts or?
Yeah, Scott, I was going to say, I think the intent is trying to get at larger lots, maybe development that's a little more spread out than, say, the 100 block where things are closer together. That doesn't mean that it's supposed to be sort of a suburban style development. So I think we can add some qualifying language in there that explains. I appreciate you calling that out, because that is sort of planner jargon. So I think we need to clarify what less compact actually means.
Okay. And then, and this is just comments in mixed use 3. And that's my last comment for this page. So it says, and so mixed use 3, you say, and limited low impact commercial uses. And then obviously in the table, there's not that many, uses that are most, and so I don't know if we really need again, low impact is one of those subjective terms. So I don't know if you just want to say and limited commercial uses, because you're already defining what commercials you use below. So I don't think there's value adding low impact, I guess. And it's like I said, it's kind of like less compact. I don't know what low impact really means. Some people may think a liquor store is low impact. Others may say it's high impact. You don't know. That's it for me on page 9. Thank you.
Michael,
Nothing on page 9.
this is where I have issues. So you have mixed use and R1. Still in here the way it was originally presented to us. You got comments back here from Pine Street, lots of them. You had said at the meeting that we would probably be changing some of those things, or they would not be going through in the same manner in which they were presented at the open house. I do not see that reflected anywhere in this packet. I cannot agree to saying yes to this when I know there are changes possibly coming in. Until those changes come in, we see what they are and how they relate.
Can you be more specific?
Well, yes, they don't want mixed use 3
Right,
in the 400 block.
right.
They
We
don't
haven't
want
changed
smaller
the
lots.
maps. We have not changed the maps yet.
Okay,
But-
but you're asking me to agree to this when that is not stated in here, that that will be happening. I would like some confirmation that that is happening before I were to agree to this. Does that make sense?
It does, and I would kind of put that back on the planning commission. If you give us direction based on the public comment and your discussions and the 3 months we've spent talking about zone districts and uses, that you would like us, when it comes time to present the final maps and at an adoption hearing, to change that block of Pine Street from MU3 to R1, we shall do that. We're going to do it anyways, but that way you're on record as saying this is our official recommendation. Just because it hasn't been done, just that has almost no bearing on what we're talking about. I think I understand what you're saying, though. You're not going to agree to a list of uses for MU3 if it applies over there. But we have to
Correct.
keep in mind that it does.
Because then that list of uses, number one,
Yeah.
it doesn't work. And the other one is the smaller lots on Pine Street, which everybody's talking to me about. We are no different than Taylor Street. Taylor Street lot sizes are not going down any. We back up to that mountain, which makes it even more fire hazardous than Taylor Street. And you're talking about increasing density, which could do big damage in there over the years. And the people want to keep Pine Street, Pine Street.
Where are the
And
people?
so that would be another one of the things that I would then add direction to.
That's fine.
Okay,
I mean, just because you've said it and it hasn't changed yet, doesn't mean we haven't heard you. It doesn't necessarily also mean that we agree with you.
well, I realize that.
And so
But
we're going to
we're
go to
here
council.
represent the people.
You're here to do a number of other things, which is enforce and interpret and apply the community plan first and foremost. And to administer our zoning code and to review development. There's a lot of things that go along with being a planning commissioner. And we have heard the people, we have taken public comment. We fully intend to change that on the map. It just hasn't been done yet. So if there are things that the Planning Commission as a whole gives us direction to as part of your formal review of this and recommendations, and we have it down in writing, the Planning Commission would like these things changed, and we go to council and say, we've agreed on 99.9% of everything we've put in front of the Planning Commission, we've listened to the public, we've held open houses, we've done our work. These are the issues where we don't align. In full transparency, in a public hearing to say, what say you, council? Right? That's how this should work. So,
And there's other things in there that was mentioned on regarding the 400 block, the 500 block. And that's what I also did not see referenced.
yeah.
So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah,
tonight.
we heard loud and clear from a number of residents in the 500 block. So,
Okay. So somehow I'd like that to be recognized, and if that's how we have to do it tonight. So what you're telling me is that when we get to the end of the meeting, when they're giving you direction items, we need to tell you that.
this is, if everybody agrees and you have the votes, then that's the direction item.
So we're talking about Pine Street, we're talking about 400 block, which is your area.
We are, yeah,
We're talking about the 500 block, which they do not want mixed use.
correct.
Is there anything else?
We already have direction.
Y'all gave us direction previously, but do you need to reiterate the direction?
Well, it's not in
I
here.
feel like it's in here.
The zone maps aren't in there, so you wouldn't see it in there. There are no zoning maps in here for you to see that reflected in.
The change has not been reflected in here.
Because this,
You mean the minimum lot size for,
And the mixed use sizes, it's not reflected in here right now. Those mixed use sizes still refer to where the people are mixed use areas, are not, in other words, this up here doesn't reflect what the changes are, and if you're saying those changes are something we need to give you direction to show in here. If I were to read this today, I would still say,
that's the information we gave at the open houses?
yes, these are the
So
charts.
okay.
But this is also what we've talked about, and this is where people came up with these requests. Okay, now, if those requests were taken and they were discussed, and you sat right there in a meeting and said, those probably won't be developing anyhow, we're probably gonna wind up changing that. How can I approve it when this still says that mixed use 3 is gonna cover this? If it's not going to in that particular area.
Because it's changed
But
since
it
then.
changed.
That's an old document, and we haven't changed the maps.
Amanda, do you understand where I'm
I
going?
understand what she's saying,
Can you
so,
clarify it any better than I am?
yes. So, we provided feedback that around the zoning maps and the uses in some of the areas where those zoning maps are applied. It doesn't look like those uses or like the lot size and things have reflected in the document that we have in front of us, which they are not. And what you're saying is that we won't see those areas change because they'll only be changed by a zone district. It'll be, they'll have a new zone district, it's like R1 or versus MU3. But until we see that zoning map with this and we know that the community's been heard, then how can we, I guess, look
You know,
at
Jeff made a great suggestion that night, and it's in the minutes, is that perhaps we change the zone for Pine Street, and that would be the same as Taylor Street.
That's what we're talking about, and that's what we already, I think, indicated that we were going to
we
do.
haven't
No, because
seen
Taylor
that.
Street minimum lot size is 5,000.
Right, and the 25 versus 5,000 is something that we do not agree with you on,
Right.
right? And it's not just we as staff, it's something that's coming from the community plan that we agree
But
with
it's
the
not coming
recommendation.
from the community. And I don't know that
Well-
that was,
It is, because the community plan reflects a year-long process that was adopted by you and the council. It's a guiding document as.
but it's a
like-
guiding document,
Right.
it's not a definitive
But
document.
we're, okay, that's what I think we are at a bit of an impasse where there are, I think, in my mind, a handful or less of issues where you've given us direction, it either doesn't align with the community plan or we don't agree as staff, and those are the issues that we are intending to very transparently bring to the council and say, we've done all this work for months and months and months. Here's our final product. Here's the issues where we don't align, don't agree. This is the planning commission's recommendation. You make the decision. And I feel like we've already taken that direction. It may not show up exactly as you wanted it to show up in that packet in front of you tonight, but that's why. In many other instances, and I think Matt did a good job of putting notes in the margin of saying, you told us to do this, we did it. You told us to do that, we did that. For this final conglomeration of zone districts, uses, use standards in your new Article 3, I think we've addressed most of those issues.
The other place that was an address that Jeff and Daryl were saying not to reduce the lot size at 2 Alta Estates, the setback size. I didn't see that in here either.
Right.
Well, part of that is because y'all's comments at a meeting, unless I get 3 or more being consensus, it's not direction. That's y'all's opinion. So yes, Daryl and Jeff agreed on that, but I didn't have 3 or more agreeing on that. Much like with the 2,500 square foot lots, that's a much larger issue, obviously, but that's more your personal issue.
No, that was people coming and talking to me.
Well,
That's,
they're
they
not
need to come to
here.
the meeting, and it's still, you are the planning commission, you are a recommending body, right?
I didn't, and I'm just being honest, I would have, like, if you had said, is this a direction of Jeff and Daryl, I totally agreed with him. I would have raised my hand if you had done what you did on the 400 block, I would have raised my hand with them. But so I don't know, like, I didn't know that was this is the first I'm knowing now, like, that's how we need to operate as a planning commission, so that's good clarity for me, because I will
I've
definitely.
seen that used more at council than I've ever seen it used
I
here.
have still said many times at planning commission, I take direction from 3. If I need to reiterate that at every single meeting, I will do that, but
I'd like to bring back up Jeff and Daryl's suggestion, and let's
And
Give
this
it a
suggestion,
direction.
your suggestion,
let's give it a let's
Can
go.
we at least wait until we get down to the
Yes,
dimensional
yes,
standards?
yes.
yes.
Let them go down.
Yes.
I still say, when we were,
No idea.
we were covering the community plan, it says right in there, and I have it in here, and I have it on the page where it states, this is a guiding document. This is not a definitive document. And that means that the community should still have a say in it. And I'll leave it at that.
I agree, and that's why we held a series of open houses, and we had this out in the public for the better part of 3 months.
I know how you look at that, but I know that
That's the
people
only way I
don't
can look
react
at
the way you would like them to.
That's the only way I can. It's- yeah,
I know that people go to council people with their issues and they come to council and commission people with their issues. They somehow feel more comfortable that way rather than coming in this room. And so I listen to them and I bring it to you. That's all I can do. But I know there are 6 people on my block alone on Pine Street who don't want that. I also know that that end came in because they did come in and that was good for them. People on Pine Street want Pine Street. People on Taylor Street, you're not changing anything on. There's basically no difference. They were both R1 residential areas. And I feel that you should really consider keeping it the same for them.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Daryl, do you have anything on your plan?
We are on page 9, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yep,
No.
Jeff? Okay. Page 10.
Is there anything on page 10? Anything on page 10?
I do. I had a clarification just because it's probably me not understanding it. So interpretation of zoning map. Where number 2, where zone district boundary coincides with a right of way line that is abandoned, the boundary shall then follow the center line of the former right of way. Where do I find what the right of way line, like I was struggling tracking that.
so Pine Street, since that's the topic du jour, the right-of-way is a piece of property that's owned by the town.
Okay,
And that spans about the sidewalk to the other sidewalk. That's a piece of property that runs the length of the road, otherwise known as a right-of-way. So the town owns it in fee simple, and has every right to build roads, water, sewer, and sidewalks within that right of way. So what this is saying is if that right of way, a publicly owned piece of property, were to be dissolved, the properties on either side, so this property and the White House across the street, would then come together and absorb the property up to the middle of that former legal right of way.
Okay,
The zoning of it would, right? Not the property.
Yes, sorry.
but the zoning, it wouldn't like take over like zoning on either, like, so if the right of way is abandoned, the zoning would just come to the middle. It wouldn't you wouldn't have like rezoning unless they like disputed it. Okay,
Yeah.
This is right here.
okay,
Just in the case of someone that came to us and said, hey, I don't know
That makes sense.
what that zoning is, and the right of way is not there anymore, we would extend the zoning out to the former
okay,
middle
that
of
makes
that.
sense. Thank you for that clarity.
Okay.
And then number 4, and some of this is gonna be, I mean, this is the first time I'm going through some of this, so I'm sorry, like I will ask stupid questions. But number 4, is it typical that the planning director determines like decides zone district boundaries, and then who, the decision by the planning director may be appealed, and then who does it go in front of?
Typically, the planning commission.
To the planning commission. Okay, thank you.
It is typical.
That's it
Yep.
for me on 10. Thanks.
Michael?
On page 10,
Yeah, you said you had something.
yes, yes. On page 10, you know, in regards to, you know, what Lynn was asking about, and, you know, some clarity that I had inquired about, and, there's definitely, there's a lot of stuff in this packet, there's no doubt. This is a major stuff in this packet, and it's really hard for everybody to understand, because we don't like have a map in front of us that shows everything that we discussed and the way that we think that we're moving forward. And I think that it's part of our job being appointed by the council. And, I think that it would be nice when we get through all this stuff to have a consensus from the planning commission, one way or the other, however the vote goes, before going through this, and then it potentially getting bypassed at the planning commission. We're this close, this is as good as we can get, and then it goes to council, because this definitely takes a lot of time. That's all I have to say on page 10.
I have nothing, Daryl.
No, I have nothing.
Jeff?
Just a general comment that I don't know what the final version of the zoning map is gonna end up being, but I would like to suggest, and if we need to vote on it, then let's vote on it. But when I look at this, I don't know like how detailed I can get online and zoom in on the town. I can see where the mountaintop is. But when I have to get into the zoning of anywhere in town where it actually matters and see what the colors are and see it's so difficult to navigate and figure out what is what because it's so small. So we've spent a lot of money to this point, getting to this point. I would hope that one of the best illustrations we have is our zoning map. So I don't know what it looks like because I haven't been able to get my hands on it or use it on the computer yet. If I can get in there really tight and see the heavy detail of what things are, and that's the way it is currently, great. But I don't know if that is that way now, but I definitely would suggest that it should be.
The other thing that I have in relation to that are the colors don't always.
I know the colors drive me crazy because
It's
I can't
terrible.
I can't tell the difference.
You can't tell the
Well,
middle yellow from light green.
Yellow from
even if it's like hyperlinks of like if I hovered over an area on the screen in town on a zoning map somehow and it just said, you're in MR too, or whatever. Like,
I think the colors are, because it's so small, if it was bigger, you probably, could be figured out easily.
You know, I went and had my packet enlarged because I couldn't.
well, I don't know, is that,
If you can't do it on the computer and figure it out, I mean, I understand.
What are you suggesting right now, Jeff?
I'm just asking a question, like, when we're done with all of this, is the zoning map gonna be interactive in any way, or is it going to be, are we gonna be able to zoom in on it to a point where it's gonna be super, like, there's no question, like, this is the zone for this address?
Yes.
Good, that's all I need to know.
My understanding is that these zone maps have been on the website and you can zoom in on them.
Okay,
But my hope and intention all along is to have a GIS-based map that you can click on it and it,
tells you what your zone is for that
Something like that,
address.
yeah.
or-
It's supposed to-
That might be a little in the future.
I know,
I kind of feel you on there.
I know.
Now's the time to say.
But I was even, I guess like to that point, when I got to this section, I figured that there would be a hyperlink or something in this packet where I could click on the zoning map. And it didn't take me there, but that's not your fault. It's just maybe in the final version of this, when someone goes to our code section, is there, like, if it references section 16-3- whatever this is, and there's a link to the zoning map, I would hope that it would be there, just like any other cross-reference to something, right?
Well, apologies, we didn't want to make this any harder than it is. It's a lot of information. I personally felt like we had spent a lot of time looking at those maps in, June and July, and didn't realize there was a concern with actually seeing the maps and understanding the boundaries of the zone districts, so.
No, it's just, honestly, it always seemed to me like the version of the zoning map that I was looking at in June and July was always hard to see.
It is always hard to see.
And maybe you thought a
I'm just
different one
stating,
would
like,
come along.
I mean, my kids told Terry last night, Mom, you're not tech savvy, and threw her into a tizzy. Because I think I'm tech savvy too, and I can't obviously navigate it, so.
No, it's very difficult. And I kind of thought, well, the next packet will have it, it'll be better or something. I didn't.
Well, I mean,
Thank you.
it looks great, but I haven't spent, there's no reason for this review tonight to be referencing the map really too much. We've already been down that road. So it was more of just making sure that in the future, the average person can
See more detail.
see more, just zoom right into the lot. They're looking to buy a house in Minturn. I want to see what the zoning is. I want to see what I can do if I buy it. All that kind of, like, that's, to me, that's the meat and potatoes of what we've been trying to make easier for people to do, not figure out if they can put up a wind farm. I'm not dissing wind farms, I'm just saying.
Right.
So that's it. That's my page 10.
I got it. Correct zoning map, so better see detail.
Well, I don't know if it needs any correcting.
Well,
It might be
so it
fine.
better sees detail. How's that?
Yeah, I think it might already be there. It's just user error.
Well, and it's funny though, because I've heard different things about some new computer system we put in. There's something that's harder for people to find things. Since I don't do computers, I don't know. But they're having a hard time getting around it. I know it happened with the QR code for the historical thing down at the market. Somebody was having trouble.
That has to do with PayPal, it's a completely separate system.
That's something else.
But
But I've had other people say they've had trouble getting to the packets or something.
I
Because
mean,
you have to
I-
click on current meeting, it's weird. It is brutal. And then you have to know where to press to get the download, then you have to select which one to get the download.
Which is more reason why people won't get involved.
It's the portal.
Okay,
Okay.
page 11. Eric,
Just looks like definitions. I have nothing.
I actually have nothing on page 11.
Michael,
Oh, I have wonderful stuff on page 11. And it's just something that I've been talked about. I talked to Scott about it. I won't take up a lot of time. But it's, the reason I brought some stuff for all of us to have is because I think we've been through this a lot, and I don't know if we ever had a vote on it, but in regards to stuff, determination by planning director, section 16.3. The point of the new code was to make things clear, get rid of the gray, not vague. And I'm pretty sure that a bunch of us sitting here, but some people have changed, that we've given direction in the past, that in regards to this, unless it's a sign or something like that, that we're here every 2 weeks, and we need to be careful with planning director's determination and discretion, because, you know, it's definitely nothing personal, but the fact is planning directors change over time. If you have a code, stuff's interpreted differently, and the intent of the code was to make things more clear. That being said, I brought little pages for everybody that we don't have to specifically discuss today, but it's a perfect example of something that we need to sort out, and I've spoken to Scott about it. You can give one to Scott, to Madison.
I got one.
Give one to Matt. And I'm not saying, Scott and I talked about this, and things might have gotten lost in discretion. They also might have gotten changed, and maybe this ordinance got changed or wasn't applied in anything that Scott's ever seen since he's been here. That being said, this ordinance, the specific building height, you know, with prior, planning department issues, the way something's measured, I think the way something's measured is important. I think that we need to figure it out, not at tonight's meeting, but this is a perfect example that we need to look into this and get this straight, because if we're talking about heights in this packet, the way things are measured need to be measured. The reason there's no overhang shown on these buildings in the example is because the overhangs are not counted. It's the exterior part of the wall. It's the eave height. The eave height's measured at the exterior part of the wall to the ridge. You measure up, and that's the middle. That's the height. That's what, according to this code, your ILC should show. It's been required in the past. If it's changed, it's changed. But it makes a huge difference in your overhang, because if your overhang, for example, when this was written, you could go 18 inches max into your side setback. If now your overhang counts and if you have an 18-inch overhang, for example, that makes my house under 27 feet tall, okay? If you're not on your setbacks and you're in the middle of your property and you have a 5-foot overhang, that could potentially, with current code of 28 feet, could give you 30 plus feet. So this is just something that I brought it up in regards to discretion, because there's multiple things in regards to discretion, and it's nothing personal at all towards staff. I like staff, but as far as discretion goes, hell, we might not be here, staff might not be here, but the purpose that I was told was to make things more clear, and we don't need things being vague. And I definitely think that we need to look into this and see if it's been put into where it applies, or if it just disappeared, and then we can talk about that later and move forward from there. That's all I have to say.
I had some concerns on there too, because I'd like us to, as Amanda said, maybe list those things. I know in the past we've talked about this. Madison can deal with fences. Madison can deal with certain decks. There are things that we have gone there on, but it was not a widespread, it was a limited spread. And so that was something I suggest we look further into also in that way of determining things.
So so what you're suggesting is in the classification of unlisted uses, where that is determined by the planning director. Because when I hear unlisted uses,
Could be anything.
it could be anything.
It's just on unlisted uses.
Listen.
It has nothing to do with building height.
Yeah.
Or fences, or signs, those aren't uses.
This
This
is
is
typical
just on
language for a
unlisted
code.
uses.
If we can just focus on that, I
That's fine, it's in the back of the packet.
Yeah,
I
we
was
can-
using that as an example,
Sure.
but as far as that goes, unlisted uses, if we wanted to vote, I'd make the motion by vote right now that that we vote on it and it doesn't get determined by the planning director.
Well, that'll be a direction item if we get there.
So
That was the only thing I was behind. Daryl,
No, I have nothing.
Jeff?
No.
Page 12, anybody? Eric?
Come on, Eric.
So this was really helpful for me where because we had this topic come up last week with the principal and accessory uses. So we had principal use of a property versus accessory use, and this is in context 2 weeks ago, where that was, we were discussing like the principal building versus accessory building, and this is the same concept, but principal and accessory uses. So I thought this was actually helpful and felt like maybe we should be leveraging this and that conversation from 2 weeks ago. So that I didn't have any comments on this except for that it was really helpful I thought it was a good way to break it down.
Okay.
Where can I find the list of accessory uses? Because it says table, and where are the current ones?
It's all the use specifics down below. So you have a property has, this is the way I understood this, is that the zone districts, is it by property or is it by zone districts as the principal uses? It's by,
We have accessory uses portion of the table starting on page 17,
okay,
and then
got it,
everything else under either commercial or residential, those are the principal uses.
got it, thank you.
Michael?
Page 12, no, I have nothing.
I was kind of where she was, so that's okay. Daryl?
On 12?
Mm-hmm.
No, nothing.
No.
Okay, well then now I take my comment back that this is not user friendly, because I never got, so like a principal use is commercial uses?
Principal use is anything other than an accessory use
Okay.
or temporary
So
use.
like the primary house.
Well, then I guess that section no longer is user friendly, because that's not what I like pulled from it. But now I understand, so commercial uses is a principal use, okay, everything besides accessory uses.
So is that a chicken coop?
Well, no, because now I'm going back and reading that
I
section.
mean, subordinate, to me, that's an ADU.
Page around.
ADU,
Well,
solar, chickens, those are all accessory uses to a primary use.
Where do garages fall?
If it's within a accessory
accessory.
building, it's accessory.
So if it's separated from the house, if it's on the house, it's with the primary.
I got some.
Yeah.
No, not on 12.
so in the table, to make it more clear, because again, can we put in parentheses, so commercial use in parentheses principal? Like, could we, I'm just trying, like, I did not honestly like look at it that way, where, now I see what you're saying.
So on page 5 or 12, whichever you're looking at, under B,
It's
not
12,
code amendment,
yeah,
next B, that says table blank classifies principal uses into general categories, residential, commercial, etc., based on common functional
yeah,
properties.
I just reread it and
Right.
saw, it just isn't clear when you go down to the table. I don't know, maybe it's just, yeah. Okay, thanks.
Nobody else?
No.
Going on to page 13. Which is the table of allowed uses. Eric,
Just kinda wanna know what the continuing care facility. What's the definition of that?
Matt, could you help us with the continuing care facility?
Yeah, so a continuing care facility, and again, it's sort of depends on what ultimately the definition ends up being, but the idea is like an assisted living facility or nursing home, a facility like that where there people live, and then there's also uh, medical services or sort of it's kind of like a quasi hospital where you have people living there, but also staff and folks like that who can provide different services to the folks living there. And the reason continuing care was added is originally there was a use for senior housing and retirement communities. And so we tried to consolidate because senior housing is seemed a little ambiguous, and then retirement communities is something that anybody could have a residential development and sort of restrict it to certain age groups. So we didn't think that was necessary to be called out as a specific use type because again, you can just have any sort of residential development and decide I only want certain age people living here. So the continuing care facility was trying to get at a senior, or it's not necessarily for seniors, but a facility for folks who need some level of assistance in their day-to-day life, if that makes sense. And it's different from a group residential facility and a group home, which we'll I'm assuming get to in a little bit. Did that help at all?
On page 13,
Mm-hmm.
I got stuff on page 13.
Okay, go.
So on page 13, we have art gallery, arts, crafts, performing arts studio, or art center. Then underneath commercial uses down below on page 14, we have studios for arts, crafts, and performing arts. What's the difference? So page 13, fourth from the top, page 13, fourth from the top, page 14, last item.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Matt, do you wanna take that?
Yeah, there is no difference. That's one of the uses that those two should be combined, would be my thought. I think that was just something that we didn't catch.
Okay. I would make a directive to combine those two. Any else agree with me?
I'll go with you.
Thanks.
Does that not then also clarify as to where it will be located?
It looks like to me it's the same, but let's look at that one more time. Nope, it's
It's
not.
under civic. And my question. No, I'll wait till it gets to be my turn.
Well, so it's not the same on mixed use either, because it's for art gallery, it's a use by right for one mixed use 1, 2, and 3. But then the studios is not a use by right across those. It's only a use by right for mixed use 1. So do we want to adopt as part of my directive, do we want to adopt the use, like have it a use by right for all mixed use?
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
It's also in the marketplace on one, but not the other.
Yeah. Well, my thing
I mean, we should
on
just-
that particular one was, why is it not allowed in the downtown 100 block, or part of that anyhow, because certainly an art gallery or an arts crafts center, not performing arts studio, those would be sales tax in.
Yeah,
Why are they not allowed in downtown?
yeah.
Think of the place that's in Riverwalk.
I
Everything
totally
they do
agree.
there,
I
they have
totally agree.
events, they have people coming in, they have merchandise to sell, and it's a great little kind of place for Minturn.
I agree, I totally agree. So let's make a directive that they combine them and then they become use by right in the 100 block. And I would say at least the 3 mixed uses, but I would love my peers to.
Art it up.
But you're saying not performing arts also.
I don't think we have the space downtown for that.
Yeah,
That
well,
would
they-
be in the civic then.
I think they should combine these two. The same thing, performing arts is in both of them. Okay,
I mean, I can see performing arts in the civic because that would probably be a bigger building.
this performing arts in, oh, I would say performing arts it's in civics too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And used by right and
You
civic.
don't think that there should be performing arts downtown?
No, I think
You
you
do.
should, but I guess that, to me, performing arts is like going to a play on a stage. Now, are you
Well, it could be a
thinking
concert.
differently?
It could be a concert.
Oh, so then do we need to define a little bit there?
Well, I mean, we had live music in the community garden.
Right,
Is that allowed?
at this point.
It's a use by right.
Yeah, so,
But I
It
mean,
was
I don't
performing
see why
arts.
that's being taken out to the civic, because that art gallery and craft shop would be a wonderful thing with something like what they do in Riverwalk.
Do we know why those were? Is that just coming
I don't
from
know.
existing?
I mean,
What, Amanda, what are you,
She's saying.
okay,
It's
so
a
I would like
bundle
to see
thing.
them combined, and then I would like to see them used by right, 100 block, civic, mixed use, mixed use. And then,
Space or not?
what?
Makerspace or not?
No, we're still talking about art gallery.
I know.
Oh, and makerspace, yes, 100% makerspace too.
okay, so you're just combining the two and adding,
As a use by right.
use by right on the 100 blocks.
No,
And-
all these, mixed use, makerspace, which is outside of town.
Right,
Yeah.
right, that's what I said.
Yep,
But see, it's here, it's no.
yeah. Okay,
I,
who
s-
agrees?
I agree. I second. We need a third.
I'll go with it.
Thanks, Carol.
I'm with it.
Okay,
I'm all
next
for
on this list.
All for it.
Amanda,
performing arts,
That-
everybody,
That cheeky,
all zones
Combining them?
performing
yep,
arts.
combining them.
thank you.
So the next, and I've had a very cheeky day all day, so if I get out of line, just tell me. Automotive detail shop. So I was, no, that wasn't it. The next one, bakeries and delis with food service. So we have it as a not use by right, it's a prohibited use in mixed use one. But then so I was trying to figure out like mixed use one, it seems like that's for commercial and we have restaurants in there, why wouldn't we want a bakery or deli?
We have one. Where are you going?
I know.
Matt, feel free to jump in. I think my sense or recollection is that if it's a bakery, it might have more impacts, and therefore we thought it was more appropriate in MU2, which is more or less Southtown.
Spread out.
Yeah.
So, and to clarify, Scott, I think some of this, in the consolidation of the existing zone districts, this might have been something that was carried forward.
Okay.
Because it might have been bakeries and delis might have been prohibited in whatever the zone districts were that were consolidated to MU1. Doesn't mean it needs to stay that way.
Right.
I would like to make a directive that we add bakeries and delis as a use by right for both the makerspace and the mixed use one. Leave the rest of it the same.
I second that.
The maker's use and which one?
Makerspace and mixed use one.
Seems to
Okay,
make sense.
I'll go with you.
We're in there.
We're in there. So we're making these directives right now as we go along. Do we want to go back and
No.
No.
get the others put in or do that at the end?
Do that at the end. These ones that we're gonna forget.
Okay, I'm just asking.
I mean,
Okay, any others?
No.
yes, I'd like to discuss bar or tavern as not a use by right and mixed use one.
Why?
Or sorry. Only because of where mixed use one is in terms of the maps. So it goes back to our first question, so never mind. I would like to see the updated maps before changing it.
I don't
Yeah.
don't think mixed use one is gonna change.
No, remember, the direction was given that the 400 block of Main Street on the Riverside get changed from MU1 to MU3.
Yes.
Right.
Which is what Kirby says. So therefore they would be impacted by this.
Okay.
Kirby's would
Kirby
be
is
impacted by this.
potentially impacted by this. 'Cause it's a bar. Okay, I will withdraw my concern. Mark better. Nothing. I'm withdrawing. Okay. I'm good on page 13, the rest of the is.
Michael?
Yeah, I need to ask a question because I don't know the answer. What are we thinking that's happening on the west side of the 400 block? More specifically, for example, from the car wash to the gas station in regards to, I can't see it on this little map.
MU1.
MU1? Okay, that's all I
And
have.
MU1 is
Mixed use.
One?
Mixed use one.
Is that all the way down or does
I'm
it stop?
sorry, I'll look it up and find it out.
That goes down
Mixed use.
to,
Yeah, I just was gonna,
I think the 700 block
Wait, no, I don't think so.
on that side.
I
I
can't-
didn't look at the map.
I think you're MU3 on the other side to the 700 block, but I couldn't tell in regards from the gas station to like the new house that's being built on the corner. I didn't know if that was MU1 for the entire block or MU1 from the car wash. I just couldn't see it.
So you're
I think it
referring
ends
to the
at
west side.
the ends at our crossing street, like your street.
Over there.
Yeah,
Where-
So
where
like the new house is built is MU.
That's MU1, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that something that we know or
So,
need to agree on direction on
I
or?
don't think haven't made any direction to change the west side. It's only the east side that we make direction.
Okay, so we got that clear?
She said that she has it.
All right, we can go with Madison.
So, okay, so it's MU1 actually to the 500 block on the west side.
Yep,
And then it changes to MU3 at the 500 block on the west side, going all the way down to the
Bridge or something.
about the bridge. And then it changes briefly to R3, actually R2, because this is changing to R2. Until we get all the way down to more of the commercial areas of Southtown, which then becomes MU2.
No, and the others, I didn't know about that, and the other questions I had, you already answered. So, that's all I have on that page.
Madison, can you go back to where it changes to R2?
The 761 lot, that's long skinny lot that was owned by the Carvers,
Where are the trailers?
where the trailers used to sit, right across from Cemetery Bridge. That's changing from R3 to R2 because it doesn't meet any of the standards. I got that, I think, direction at the second meeting where we talked about zone districts.
so I do have one more question on 13, and I'm sorry. Cause I thought we had discussed a little bit of drive-throughs, like if somebody could actually fit a drive-through into their lot, then it would be allowed, but this looks like we still have it as prohibited across the board. Do you have any directives previously on, that we discussed through drive-throughs and drive-ups? Cause remember we did all the lines of sight and everything, and if they could fit it.
That was with food trucks. Where
Yeah.
that discussion was.
I think the issue was whether or not food trucks could be drive-in, drive-out.
Yeah, but this is drive-through, drive-up establishments, which, wouldn't that be those type of food trucks?
I think it would be more of a brick and mortar
Okay, this is,
store.
Jeff's got
And
room.
that was more like mobile vendor court.
okay, this right here is
Talking
not
to
that.
McDonald's.
No, this is like a Whataburger or a Wendy's, something like that.
Oh, we can't, well, you can't allow Whataburgers?
I would love to allow Whataburgers.
I would love just any sort of drive-up coffee. A Whataburger?
No.
Whataburger.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like a primarily Texas, Oklahoma chain. They now have one in Colorado Springs. I always hit it when I go home. Their burgers are okay. I never eat their burgers. I'm mainly there for the taquitos that they have from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. They have really good taquitos. So
Wow, Madison.
During the night.
You're right, I didn't eat
But
dinner.
what is a water burger? Is it just a burger?
Franchise.
It's the name of
Thank
it.
you.
It's actually, it's what a burger, but nobody says what a burger, it's Whataburger, so.
I like it. Sounds
Okay.
good. Take one.
Okay, you done?
Really, I'm done with 13. Thanks.
Michael?
Yeah. Oh, I know what I didn't like in 13. Maybe I read it different somewhere else. Did we decide that commercial parking lot garage was not a use by right in any area, or is that a different page? I thought I read that it was use by right somewhere.
Marty, we proposed
Civic.
use by right in civic and conditional in MU1.
Is that,
Conditional, but it can only be a municipality parking lot.
No, that's a separate use, municipal lot is a
Oh.
separate use. This would be like if somebody bought, I don't know,
Somebody could buy the.
a couple lots in the
on
100 block
street.
and decided to make that to
You could buy
a for
it
sale or
on-
for rent parking lot.
Make it a 4-story, 35 foot.
well, on our side, right?
Well, right now on our side. You could sell your car wash and build a big parking garage.
It's not mine anymore, but I know that there's a lot of thoughts going on that side of the street.
Parking garage.
It includes a bunch of people. Yeah, I don't know. Do we all think that's a good idea to have it used by right, or should it be a conditional
Which one is,
use for a parking garage on anywhere on MU1?
No, it's a conditional, it's supposed to be conditional in MU1, it's just a use by right in civic.
Civic.
Oh, okay.
Seems
Makes
fine.
sense. That makes sense. Okay, thank you for your clarity.
So I once had a question on the animal hospital, because the only place you can have an animal hospital and boarding is out by Makerspace. But you can have an animal hospital and mixed use too, just not the boarding, is that correct? Okay, so there's two alternatives there. Then I wanted to clarify, because until I saw this, I did not realize how it was settled, that the psilocybin, or whatever you wanna call it,
Mushrooms.
mushroom Medicaid place. We did correct it to the second level in the 100 block, but then we're allowing it on street level through mixed uses.
That actually, if we're on to that page, natural medicine, that should theoretically be allowed on the first floor as well, based on council decision.
Oh, that's page 14, Lee.
Oh, I'm
that's
sorry.
page 14.
I made my note on this page, I
No
apologize.
worries, I gotta remember where that went, what is it called? Healing, yeah,
Natural
so
medicine.
Natural Medicine Healing Center was not broken out into first floor and second floor and above, or planning commission recommendation. It was originally in the ordinance that went to council, but council decided to allow it on all levels, so there's no reason to break it out into first floor, second floor, so now it's
So we're losing the sales tax on the main level in the 100 block.
that's what council decided to do.
Changes from old code or recent presentation. I think that was what I had. Derek?
Yes, I do have something. In reference to R2 and R1 about the bed and breakfast. I interpret a bed and breakfast as a business because you're doing a service. And it, in our definitions or purposes, it defines that R1 is a district for single-family homes, duplexes, and accessory dwellings, home occupations, and civic uses. And in R2, it's saying almost the same thing, saying single-family homes, duplexes, accessory dwellings, and multifamily dwellings. So I interpret a bed and breakfast as a commercial establishment. So I don't think that should be allowed in R1 and R2.
Okay.
Bed and breakfasts would cause parking problems for R1s and R2s, as well as traffic problems. And I see a bed and breakfast as a business. Anyone agree?
I'm not quite sure I agree.
I will agree.
It's a business, but as far as it going into R1 and R2, I don't have an objection to agreeing with that.
I agree to that change to R1, R2.
I agree to the change.
I would just say that it's listed as a conditional use. And if someone purchased a property in that zone and did whatever modifications to their house that they needed to provide parking and all of that, and it was presented to the town, and the neighbors didn't object, and there was, conditional use to me means there's gonna be a review of it. It's not a use by right. So I guess I'm just pushing back a little bit to say, if someone wanted to do that and it was presented in a public forum and everybody said great, then why say no to it now if you have an opportunity to say no to it later?
So another piece of information that you should consider, down on page 30 of the packet, under bed and breakfast, we developed specific use standards for a bed and breakfast. So there's a character element that the use of a single-family detached dwelling for a bed and breakfast shall maintain the residential character of the present premise. The number of guest rooms is capped at 4 guest rooms. And then there's the length of stay, which is essentially the same as a short-term rental. So just for that consideration.
And also on that same bed and breakfast topic, opposite direction, I feel like for mixed use 1, it should be a limited review use versus a conditional use. And then, because mixed use 3, it's already a limited use. It just feels like this whole line is all mumble jumbled a little bit. So I tend to agree with Daryl that prohibited in the residentials, but then allowed in those
Other ones.
mixed use. But then I would recommend making it a limited review use for mixed use 1, the same as it is already for mixed use 2 and 3.
Matt, do you recall why bed and breakfast is a conditional and mixed use 1?
Yeah, again, I think this was a carryover. It was either what the existing zone districts allowed for, or it was I think it was one of the previous recommendations from the planning commission from a number of years ago. There were a number of zone districts where bed and breakfast, I think, was recommended as a conditional use.
Amanda,
It was that second one.
Amanda, just so I got this correct, I just made a note that in MU1, you're recommending that it be a limited review use instead of conditional?
Yes, well, 1, we already have 1.
Yeah.
Correct. And then 2, because the other mixed use that's neighboring those, it's a limited, so you could easily put 1 in mixed use 3. Not so easy in mixed use 1. It just seems like it's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
If we're switching to mixed use 3, we already have mixed use 3.
Oh, I know we do. We already have 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then I tend to agree with that,
Well,
from a residential perspective.
Other
because
thing
it's neighborhoods.
that we have, but does that one not have more than 4 bedrooms?
Well, we used to have them on our back street too.
No, I think that particular building might have more than 4.
We'll roll with that.
I think we're gonna roll with Daryl for sure.
And then the other question is, they also do other things in there, like you can go in and get a cup of coffee and stuff, can't you? Or they used to. I don't know if that's
I
changed.
think it's changed with whoever's running it right now, but yes.
You used to be able to go in and get something
I
and
think
buy
there's only
things and-
4 rooms, cause
Okay.
there's 2. I I don't know, I haven't been in there for like a couple of years.
I used to eat bacon in there 20
So you
years
want to
ago.
be what?
I just would like to eliminate in R2 and R1, make that an N rather than the C. And Scott, even in the
I agree.
definitions, you're not addressing anything about the parking. Even though you may have 4 guest rooms, there may be extra cars coming in here, and also bed and breakfast. You're up here to enjoy the area, and so you party a little bit hardier. And put that in a residential is not the best situation, I don't think, if the neighbors are having to go to work tomorrow at 6:30.
I agree with you, Daryl.
I agree with Daryl.
Just
Thanks, Matt.
on the parking issue, much like other use standards for different uses, we are deferring to the parking standards. So it's just inherent that if they have a use, they have to meet our parking standards.
Okay.
So
I agree. I would like to make the direction as
Change R2 and R1, the bed and breakfast to an N, as in Nancy's.
Yeah.
Okay?
prohibited use. I agree with Daryl. Anybody else?
I agree.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Unanimous.
And is there direction to change bed and breakfast to a limited review use in MU1?
Sure.
I agree with,
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Now we know the process. We're making
we are
progress.
making progress quick.
you are. Great.
Just needed to know we needed to vote.
Not easy stuff, and it's not always super clean, so.
Jeff, did you have anything on 13?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so now we're on 14.
Hold on, let me just make sure I have nothing else. Yes, we are. Eric, page 14.
Just on the restaurant for mixed use one, it's a limited review. Is that because of the size and the impact of it?
I think we changed it to a use by right in MU1.
We did.
Okay, the letters are kind of jumbled there.
Yeah, it doesn't help that there's a strike through L right next to it because it was a limited use. And we were just like, oh, that doesn't quite make sense, so we changed it to it.
We did that and it looks like 1 and 2. Is that?
It's a use by right in MU1, MU2, and it's a conditional use in MU3.
And it's makerspace.
I'd like a Whataburger, please.
And I will note on for restaurants, the planning commission had previously provided direction that that be a conditional use in all the mixed use zone districts.
Yes. So we had originally said it would be a conditional use, not a use by right. But then were we overridden? And now it's a use by right for mixed use 1 and 2 versus conditional?
Not necessarily overridden, just as
You mean both?
Scott kind of said earlier, there's certain things, handful of things that we don't necessarily agree with you on. So they've been made note of, they'll be put to the council saying, hey, here's what planning commission recommends. If you would like to, if you agree with them, we can make that change within the document. But in places, for full transparency, in places where staff didn't agree with the planning commission, we're just making note of those comments.
Okay.
We're not necessarily changing them in the code.
Okay, so just to make sure on record, restaurants, the planning commission recommended restaurants get conditional use so that they would be reviewed for impact and things like that. And staff said no and left as a use by right for mixed use 1 and 2. Got it. My next one, do you have any more on that page? 14, membership organizations. So why do we have a conditional use for membership organizations in mixed use 3 and R1? Is R1 because of the Trout Club? Residential 1?
No, R2 is Trout Club.
Well, R1 is conditional use for membership organizations.
Can we have an example, please? Of a membership organization.
So membership organization stems from planning commission recommendation 5 years ago, if I'm remembering correctly. And membership organization, for an example, is something like a Masonic Lodge. That's a membership
Will that be
organization.
an
Masonic Lodge, Freemasons.
Oh, yeah, and what do we have that listed as condition?
So we have it only can't be anywhere except for mixed use 3 and R1, and both of those are conditional uses. So it's a prohibited, membership organizations are prohibited.
I think we should change it, well, we don't know what the math says, but hey, maybe we should,
I
we
don't
should change that.
feel membership organizations belong in residential neighborhood.
Exactly. Or even mixed use.
That was probably a carryover from combining the districts, so good catch.
I make direction to make mixed use, or membership organizations in R1 a prohibited use.
I second.
I second it.
Sorry, what was the direction?
R1
Oh.
is a no-go.
Hold on.
Membership organizations in R1 to make a prohibited use.
Okay.
That's a residential neighborhood.
An N.
And then,
Or Nancy.
And we've determined that it's not a church, right?
Church is institutional use.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
the other thing I would like us to see, Matt, is to get,
Wait, no,
oh,
don't,
I'm
don't
sorry,
stop.
I'm sorry.
Because it's still, I don't understand why it's a conditional use in mixed use 3 versus mixed use 1, like what? I mean, membership organizations just looks wonky.
But isn't this like
You're saying that
the Elks Club and
it's
the
no and 1, and no and 1, no and 2, and
And yes, it-
conditional and 3.
say no to member?
Yeah, I don't think that makes sense either.
No, because that MU's 3, I believe, is part of residential. No, you're right.
So
Thank you,
we're-
Amanda.
So we're gonna take, are we,
Correcting the direction. We're getting rid of membership organizations in MU's 3 and R1.
Oh,
And it doesn't allow for it anywhere.
anywhere. I don't think you legally can do that.
We can't do that.
BFW too?
We have to allow it for.
You have to allow it somewhere in
Oh,
town.
But MU's 3 covers the
Then let us-
residential.
MU1, you have it.
Order, point of order, please.
Wait, what? Sorry.
we're kidding, we're teasing. Okay,
Any further?
It belongs in an area where mixed use will not be an overlay on a residential neighborhood.
Okay, well, that's nowhere in town.
Well, it will be eventually on Pine Street, hopefully.
You can be out in the makerspace.
Saying that Pine, isn't that mixed use 3 down there?
I feel like we've been very transparent, but that's gonna go away, but sure.
Yes. So, but until it goes away, it should not be there. It should be somewhere along Main Street like it used to be, like the like the Masonic Lodge was, etc.
Okay, so that's MU1 or MU2 or MU3 once the Pine Street
Right.
block goes away. So do you wanna allow it in MU1 and MU2?
Is everybody okay with that?
In MU1 and MU2? As a conditional?
as a
Sure.
conditional.
Okay.
Commercial.
Okay. And then I would request that we have a definition, not only about what a membership organization is, but a list possibly. Because that's where we got.
It's too long.
That would be
Too
too
long.
long.
It would be endless.
Yeah.
And then the minute
As
you
long
write
as
it,
it's conditional, we're okay, because.
yeah, the minute you write it, it's
Okay.
obsolete.
Okay,
Because somebody's gonna come up with something else.
So I can offer a little clarity on the definition, and this is actually the town's existing definition for club, but it's any nonprofit organization exclusively serving members and their guests whose facilities are limited to meeting, eating, and recreational uses, and further, whose activities are not conducted principally for monetary gain. So as Madison noted, it's kind of like a Mason Temple or Elks Lodge, kind of places like that.
So we can still stick with our recommendation?
Yeah, I think we can stick with the recommendation.
so we're recommending that membership organization becomes conditional use under mixed use 1, mixed use 2, and prohibited use in mixed use 3.
No,
And
prohibited
R1.
use.
And R1.
And R1.
Wait, so, okay,
No, R1's
this is
I'm
new.
saying MR1.
prohibited.
So it's prohibited in MU3 as well? Cause that wasn't something y'all voted on.
I
Yes.
thought we did.
Well, until we get that straightened out,
Well,
The 400 block of Pine Street is getting out of just Pretend it's already
R-
been
R1.
changed to R1. Don't even consider it a
Okay.
new.
Wave my wand.
It's been changed to R1.
Thank you, Harry Potter.
Yes. Do you want it in all mixed use zone districts as a conditional use or just MU1 and MU2?
Guys,
All,
all three? Or
Sure,
just-
I'm fine with that.
Okay,
And
I have.
all three.
Eco Hall is coming soon.
Okay, I have 3 votes on that
What are we doing?
direction. Membership organization conditional use in all mixed use zone districts.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I have no more on 14. Sorry.
Michael,
I have nothing on 14.
I do. Where are we doing laundromats in the 100 block?
We have one at the liquor store. It could be gone.
It's been talked about to do it at the
At the distillery.
distillery.
Well, because they think you could walk in and take the box. It's a cute idea, but,
Isn't
I mean, you don't want to turn in the future, the 1904 store into a laundromat on Main Street. You want a retail store. You could do it in mixed use. I understand that, but I don't understand it in the 100 block.
There's not much of demand for laundromats these days.
And every time we've had one, they've fallen, and the one down there was a mess all the time. That's why they closed it. It was a disaster, and people were destroying things like crazy. And it was little, it was right, it
Charles
was,
Place was busy back in the day.
My buddy owns a lot of laundromats in Michigan. There's a lot of quarters. There's a lot of sales tax.
a lot of quarters.
I would say
There
everybody
was
should have
probably,
their
Daryl, do they still have
Bags
a
and bags of
Westville?
No,
They even took it out of Westville, so we don't have a laundromat in the.
Whatever days where it's hard to get in there.
I know.
Well, there'd be a high demand for laundromats then.
Yeah, but could we do it somewhere else than on main level?
Is that a direction or a recommendation?
I would like that to be a direction. I mean, we're talking about keeping the I don't see people, our type of clientele who came to my store, the women who pull up in their cars, get dropped off and go shopping, coming here to go see a laundromat. They're coming here to spend money in the store and have fun with their friends because they're all met in Vail and they're going to lunch. I mean, you can have that laundromat here, just
Question.
not there.
Point well taken, and in other instances, we have certainly split out street level from second level and above, but we've also split out can't front on Main Street, right? So you have to have a retail or other sales tax generating use on Main Street, but in the back of house, you could have
Offices.
And yes,
This is a laundromat.
that I see.
that,
So how do we identify that in here?
we literally write that in here.
Okay,
Either
I
as a
like
use
that
standard.
I like that.
And like Ace Hardware, for example, the laundromat in the back,
Mhm.
laundromat in the back, in regards to high demand, it's extremely high demand Monday through Friday. You're not really getting in there, and it's due to the fact that there's so many places being cleaned that they want to wash laundry. They want to wash.
Own laundry there
They want
You can't do it.
on
while
Saturdays
it's
and
on.
Sundays you can.
Oh.
Saturdays
I
and
thought
Sundays
you
you
just
can do your
said
own
it.
laundry. But it's potentially being in the back, certain somewhere, it probably can fit somewhere if somebody really wants it.
So, the laundromat in Westvale, open to the public or not,
Yeah.
On the weekends,
on the weekends, okay.
yes, only.
So, yes, I think on the back street, it would be okay.
Okay.
One.
A service
Anybody
business
else?
that doesn't generate sales tax,
Do you guys think on the back street?
you would think.
So it would be like,
Second, third, great.
Question though, is a laundromat generates sales tax, correct?
if it's reported,
Well, I'm just saying it's supposed to generate sales tax. So if you're saying it needs to be a sales tax generating use to front on Main Street, it would qualify.
Yeah, I was just giving alternatives based on the,
well, and you could do it in the, I mean, you have it in the market maker's place in an MU1 and MU2. Those are all street levels tax generating things. It's just in the main downtown 100 block area.
And can I ask for clarity on laundromats? Because we have the one like You have laundromats or laundry rooms that are like for multi-use buildings, like the one that we have that's across from the liquor store, cause that room in the very front is actually like multiple laundry. That's not considered a laundromat, but you still have to pay quarters in there. And anybody can technically, like I can go in there.
Then it's a laundromat.
Liquor store?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, on the left side.
on the left side.
Huh.
So across from the liquor store,
Across from the liquor store.
across from the liquor store, you have those three, the or whatever those things, the trailers.
Yeah.
Big
And then
building.
the big building right between the
The
trailer
one
and the
that,
one with the cube.
Cypher's owns.
They have laundromat in there?
They have laundry, the very front room is
Busted.
all laundry.
They are busted.
And I've been told that I can just go in there and use it.
Yeah, I don't know that they have a business license for that.
But I don't
so-
know if that's what I'm saying, I don't know if it's laundry, it's meant for their tenants.
Here we go.
If it's meant for their tenants and it's a common laundry area for their tenants,
But you still
no,
have
I
to pay a
don't,
quarter for it.
that's between them and their
It's-
tenants.
Okay.
But if they're using it for public use, not by their tenants, if anybody off the street can come in, that's the laundry.
They might have just.
Are you
told
doing
me.
your laundry down there?
Yeah.
Amanda?
What?
Are you secretly doing all your laundry there?
I secretly had a laundry machine that broke and was looking for a place to do laundry.
Interesting.
I got some extra laundry machines for you.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, but that's not considered a laundromat.
As long as it's just for their private tenants' use, no.
Okay, thanks.
I have no problem with the laundromat in town. I think that's a necessity for employees who rent here at $2,400 a month and don't have a washer and dryer. However, I do have a problem with it being on Main Street, so if Scott says that we can deal with that.
What is your official recommendation?
My official recommendation is that a laundromat in the 100 block, A or B, be on the back of the buildings, whether it be main level or upper level. But on Main Street, it does not exist.
Now, if it's on the back of the buildings in 100 Block B, you can't access it. So how does that work?
Wait, 100 block B is
That's up top.
100 Block B is the
the one
west
against the
side of
mountain.
William
Yes,
Street.
yes, so it would be on the back side of A.
But you're okay with it on the whole
Yes.
level for B? Great.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
Everybody okay there? And then, my other question is, what is rental businesses?
The
Snow
thing down at
days.
the trading post where they have those little go-kart things, that's like a rental business.
Snowmobiles.
The bike shop.
The bike shop that
or
rents bikes on Main Street.
A ski shop that
Yeah.
rents skis.
The bike shop
There are a
across
lot of
from your
places in
shop.
this valley that rent things.
Yeah.
We need a lot of toys that we don't necessarily want to store.
Or a
Some of those things are important, beneficial and applicable, like the right stuff. These people in
I
town.
have rented bikes many a time.
Yeah, it's cheaper to rent a car.
I love
And
that.
do
shit.
rentals make sales tax or considered, because it's a rental, not a per se sale?
I think so.
Matt, when you do that definition, will you give a few examples if you can?
Yep.
Because the other place I can think of, isn't there one in the Battle Mountain Trading Post?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the example I gave you.
Okay.
Not to be construed with like a United rental where you could go rent a forklift.
But maybe there's a fine line there?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I can tell you that those businesses take up a wide berth
That would have to go to
and they're a
city.
massive impact on everyone around them.
Yeah. So Matt, do we need to address that in the use table and definitions or?
Well, yeah, so that brings up a good point. There is a line or row for motor vehicle, RV sales, service, and rental. So you could interpret it like heavy equipment rentals falling under that category. Or we could add a line item for heavy rental or heavy equipment rental or something like that. So if you're renting a backhoe or whatever, that is treated as its own distinct use.
It should be because it's a very distinct
Yeah.
use.
You could add that, Matt, in the motor vehicle recreation vehicle sales. You could put like another comment, put heavy equipment or
Commercial equipment rental.
commercial equipment rentals.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Are there any- If we add that as a use, are there recommendations on where that should be permitted?
The same, we have it in makerspace.
That's probably about it.
One.
General limited use in MU2.
There's no land big enough in MU1, I don't think.
I agree with your comment on eliminating the retail uses greater than 5,000 square feet. Consolidated the uses with offices. And we've since already dealt with the craft space, which was my other question on there. Daryl,
Nope, we've answered the ones that I had.
Jeff,
I just would like to either make a point of clarity by adding a note or not, or adding a new line, which is back to our studio for performing arts. There's nowhere in town that lists live music venue. And I would be remiss if I didn't stick up for my fellow musicians.
is that not the park we have?
No, I'm saying if somebody wanted to build an indoor live music venue,
Wouldn't that be performing arts?
well, I just want to either we put, it could be, I just want to go on the record to say that I would hate for someone to come to town and say, I want to build the next Gartens 8150. And we go, well, doesn't say you can do that. There's no use for it. So if we are going to agree that a live music venue like that would be considered a performing arts venue, then great, then it's covered.
That could be under
But if it's
civic.
not, then I would like to see live music venue put in its own line.
I think that's a
Performing arts, and on this, it's under civic.
Totally. So if we agree that it's all just kind of covered under the umbrella of performing arts, then great. But I just want to make sure it's on the record.
I agree. I would have assumed it was underneath performing arts, but that's just me.
As long as you're performing, Jeff.
Well, the art side of it's subjective.
Well, there again, I think if you're doing something like that, you need a bigger space because you're gonna have a bigger crowd. The only place that I could think of is if the bunkhouse got turned into something like that,
Yeah. But there's,
as far
well,
as downtown, but civic, there's a lot of room out there that somebody could build something like that.
or look at the saloon, you know, it gets transformed into a performing arts venue at times,
Well, there's a town.
you know, and it's packed full of as many people as they can fit, like
There's a town-
Halloween.
A town
Coming up.
called New Orleans, they sure have a lot of performing arts in those little.
Well, yeah, that would just say use by right across the board,
So,
in every zone.
Jeff, we do not currently have a definition that I can find for performing arts, but, you know, moving forward, that's something that we could
I'm gonna make it.
define.
I think so, and include, you know, live music in that.
I like that
Recording
direction.
studio, something.
Do we have a direction from Jeff to come up with a definition for performing arts?
Oh, yes,
Please.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm with Jeff.
I'm with Jeff too.
Okay.
Matt, do you have that?
I do. I did want to note that like a live music venue could also fall under theater.
It could, yeah, right on the next page, first one.
Which used to be the old movie theater, right?
Yep.
Okay,
So I think it kind of depends on what zone districts you would want to allow. a live
We
music
added the galleries to like the 100 block because they could be, money generating.
100 block, civic, makerspace, and all mixed-use zone districts are used by right for the combined art gallery,
Gallery,
arts,
yeah.
crafts, performing arts studio, and studios for arts, crafts, and performing arts.
So I feel like for a live music venue, it'd be better to leave it into performing arts than move it into theater.
Scott, is just a point of reference to it. If someone came to town with a use that wasn't in the use table and they proposed a use, would you use the variance? Could you go that direction to get that through, or is it just no?
No, variances can never be used for a variation from use standards, and that's why we have that
The unlisted use.
classification of unlisted uses, which is ubiquitous in every code across America, that gives the planning director or the town manager or somebody as an official of the town to make a decision as a, is it a similar use or is it not? And if I were to say, this doesn't fit anywhere, there's no similar uses, denied, they can appeal that. If I make a determination that says, this is similar to this other use, we'll allow this, and it can still be appealed, so.
Perfect.
Yep.
That's the
It will allow
process.
somebody could, if Scott says, no, you can't do this, it's because that language that's in there says a use that's not listed is prohibited unless the planning director makes a determination that it is similar to a use that's listed in this table, or they pursue a code amendment.
That's correct, right.
Okay. That takes a long time. As we,
Could be straightforward.
here we are.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is where to bring this up, but if something like that develops in the future, if tents are used, we need to have somebody come out and mark where the gas line goes.
Anytime you put a stake in the ground.
Yeah,
you're
well,
supposed to
that's
be-
not what happened when we had that one big event downtown.
They
So
were
I'm just-
supposed to call and they didn't.
They did,
That's
yes.
them violating state code.
The whole
not
neighborhood had to evacuate, so
not doing what we were supposed to.
I'm just bringing that up in the back of your mind, think about that, if it works in there somewhere. Okay, we are
Page 15.
page 15.
I don't have anything on this one.
I'm sure I missed something on this one, because this one was hard for me to. So I was trying to understand why, the first one down is contractor storage. When I read that, like, I was thinking like, I honestly didn't know how that was different than commercial indoor storage, number one. And then number two, I was trying to understand why you would have it, so you have it used by right and civic, and then you have it, the mixed use one, but I didn't understand why we didn't have it in makerspace. It just feels like both commercial indoor storage and contractor storage maybe is one thing, and then two, the use table, like where it is allowed in the zones, was perplexing me.
So they are technically two different things. When you think contractor storage, think of the rail yard. That's contractor storage. Commercial indoor storage is like those little self-service units that you can rent and put your store your stuff in, close it. It's conditioned or not conditioned inside, but you close it with a lock. So those are two different things. I do agree with you that contractor storage should probably be allowed in makerspace, given that whole Darren Tolkien thing of it. But those are the differences.
Okay.
Yeah.
But isn't he outdoor storage screened? And his contractor part is over in the rail yard?
His contractor thing is over the rail yard, but the landscapers in the makerspace are probably fall under contractor storage.
Who's the landscaper and makerspace?
It's
right before me.
That's,
Rob
Rock-
Rozeski works for them. I don't know what
In
the.
Mills, in the Dutch automotive area?
No, Rocky Mountain Landscape.
Rocky Mountain Landscaping is in the rail yard.
They're on the rail yard.
They're on the.
No, there's a,
Oh, down below.
yeah, down below.
West,
It's huge.
Intermountain.
Yeah, it's
Intermountain, sorry.
Intermountain
Yeah.
Landscaping, yes.
Okay, so I think we should have at least, I mean, at a minimum, something that allows that contractor storage and makerspace. I would say use by right would be mine, knowing that kind of zone. But if my peers think it should be more of a limited use or conditional use, I'm fine with either, just.
Contractor storage, that's Rob's place right now is currently part of Makerspace, is that what we
It
just said?
is, yeah.
I don't know if you, well, his
Well,
place is.
landscaping, I don't know if he sells off of that property, does
He does. I bought plants
You
there.
can go there and buy from him.
Yeah, he has sales.
So,
He's got a nice spot.
He's got a really nice plant.
I don't know if if that should be under contractor storage though. Should that
That's
be-
just landscaping company.
That's just a landscaping company. And that could be retail.
You don't want that
Nursery.
getting changed and turning into something different down the road, Amanda, if we switch to contractor storage. Is
Then you-
some stuff that we currently have is contractor storage.
It just feels like this contractor storage is odd, that it's conditional use in mixed use one. It's not allowed any place else. And the one place where I would have thought it would have been would be in the makerspace.
It could be conditional use of makerspace.
Yeah, and then how does everybody feel about it being conditional use in mixed use one?
So the reason why it's conditional mixed use one is because MU one covers the rail yard,
Right.
and that's where all the CUPs
And that's all
are held
CUPs.
for
Okay.
as contractor storage.
Yeah, because that's railroad property.
Okay, so this just,
Most places it's in MU1, it's not gonna be, probably if it got reviewed, it'd be like, nah, don't think so.
okay.
Yeah,
It'd be conditioned that way.
So then I would maybe just put a C for makerspace for contractor
Yeah,
storage.
that's what it is. That's why it's in source one, conditional use, because
I'm okay with that.
earlier is conditional, is.
I have a problem with the word contractor storage in Maker's Place. Because to me, that, I see things like trucks and backhoes and wood and
But it's
rebar.
already there.
But Maker's Space is becoming a nice retail space.
It's on the back side, like the back side of makerspace is where that,
It's conditional, so they would have to come in and
So-
apply. As
The only place that I could see it is that empty lot that nobody knows what to do with.
but that's what I'm saying, I don't think all of that stuff that's on is all of that landscaping company. When you drive down that road before the makerspace,
Yeah, that's Rob's land.
That's
it's all
Rob's.
it's all
Yes,
Rob?
They bought that property. They
Oh,
had 2
okay.
acres there, I think. Yeah.
Peanuts in the dock.
That was one of the very first properties that the railroad sold to us,
Yeah.
or to them. I remember that deal.
Mm.
That's all his. I can't see putting in a contractor storage in Civic where it's not visible, I can see, but to,
Okay, then,
I don't
if
think we want a lot of, it misread and a lot of stuff starting to accumulate there if he decides that he wants to go stay on the beach for 8 months out of the year.
you guys have persuaded me.
Eric, you have,
I just understand what you're saying. I mean, your vision for a makerspace is not a storage.
no, you've got the coffee
Yeah.
place, you've got the clog shop, you've got Belden Witch, you've got Market, you've
It's a
got.
lively area for-
Yeah, all that going on.
Damn. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
okay.
Okay, so
Persuaded me.
So-
Thank you.
changed,
Nope, we're gonna leave it as is.
so not making a conditional use of makerspace.
Nope.
No,
Oh,
we're leaving it as is.
As is.
we agree.
So I just want to offer one suggestion, looking at contractor storage and outdoor storage screened. I think those are very similar, if not the same thing.
Seems
Um,
like it.
Yes.
Scott, if you disagree, let me know. But my thought would be to consolidate outdoor storage screen and contractor storage, consolidate those together, and then just mirror what the zone districts that contractor storage is allowed in this table.
Okay.
That was gonna be my next thing, was outdoor screened in makerspace.
It's just outdoor screened is allowed in the makerspace, but it's not in contractor storage.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah,
some
so we would,
difference
if we
between-
consolidated them,
Conditional.
we would,
It's conditional in MU1 and it's not allowed in
That's all.
MU1.
right, so if we consolidated them, I think it would, outdoor storage would be a use by right in Civic, and then a conditional use in MU1, and then not allowed in makerspace.
Yeah, and because
Yep.
if we leave it as, right now, it's a no in outdoor storage, screened or unscreened in MU1, and that would make rail yard a nonconformity. Right?
Great.
Right.
Okay,
So
next.
We've got that. Anything else, Amanda?
Yeah. So when I look at this, so cemetery and cemetery office uses. I just want to make sure, so they're only allowed in Civic,
Mhm.
and that's where they are today.
What are we doing?
Okay, thank you, that was just one that clarification. And that's it for me on 15.
Michael?
I have nothing on 15.
Okay, I have one small question. Under outdoor storage screen, is that an asterisk or just a drop of? And if it's an asterisk, where is it expressed?
Outdoor storage screen, there's no.
Under civic, there's an N minus R and a black dot on mine.
No.
I don't know. Okay, that's
Yeah, it's where it was changed
just a black dot. Okay.
originally from not
So I'm
allowed.
not looking to find something to read.
No asterisks.
Cross that one off. Will we have, let's see here. Okay, indoor recreational facilities
Yes.
in the downtown area. Are we seeing that like as the yoga studio was, or what does that relate to? Is there gonna be a definition?
Climbing gym.
I think we were trying to make sure that we didn't limit ourselves due to things like the yoga studio, if we ever wanted to have that back in the 100 block, given that people going to yoga, maybe they're not spending sales tax dollars there, though I think we convinced Chelsea
did sell
to
things,
sell
yes.
small things.
She sold some
Um,
clothing and mats
right.
and jewelry.
But people going there often go to get coffee either beforehand or afterwards, or restaurants, or they go to walk around to cool down after whatever they're doing. So when we discussed it internally, we thought, oh, it's probably appropriate to allow that back in the 100 block.
But there again, could that be on a second floor and leave the bottom open for a retail store? We have a limited amount of buildings we can do that with. I mean, think about it. What are there, 8, maybe? And that,
Current configuration.
yeah. I mean, I could see that, again, being on the back street or being on the second floor.
You're saying indoor recreation?
Indoor recreation, what they're saying is like a yoga studio or possibly a weightlifting gym.
You wouldn't want a weightlifting gym
On the second floor, no, so you'd have to limit what type of recreation.
You have to carry the weights up there.
Okay.
Right.
You know, I don't know, I'm just saying it seems to me there's a lot of things in here that are being allowed, and there again, maybe if we're on the back street, like we're saying, not on Main Street.
It's gonna be expensive to buy something in the 100 block and put a weightlifting room in there.
Okay, so that's one person. Is there consensus on this?
What was your,
Indoor recreation facilities, street level.
on page 15?
On page 15. Could be on the back street, but not on Main Street.
Why don't you just make it a conditional use?
Nah.
Yeah, like if somebody wanted to
I don't have a problem with
if
it.
someone wanted to build a building with a climbing gym and it attracted people that were potentially gonna spend money in downtown, I don't think we wanna take it away.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I'm saying. If somebody wants to bring a business to town, you're gonna tell them no?
it's a business.
Like, it's a business. We're having hard enough time.
What are
Like,
you selling?
bringing
Where's the
business to
sales tax coming from?
I don't think we should push it to the back of it.
Daily fees.
Daily
and
fees.
Huh?
Memberships and
It taxed? Does our gym tax on your membership?
No, but if people are here, they're gonna, eventually, potentially, we might
All I'm
have some
telling you
other
is by doing
businesses.
these things you're doing, you're going to start not getting retail stores.
But
And
if
that's
you have,
something you have to think about.
retail stores will grow, I think, in that aspect, that with all the development we currently have going on, we're gonna have more of a demand for retail stores because just with our current development, there's gonna be more people here that wanna spend money and which makes a higher demand and more chance of profitability off of a store or restaurant or something along those lines. And you know,
I would tend to agree that I feel like having an exercise place is not that bad, because we would get the.
Well, it wasn't with yoga because she did start selling things. And if that could be a possibility of having that, in other words, that could be a condition of having that business there, then you've got the sales tax.
So again, I feel so dumb when Chelsea, if I wanted to go take a yoga class and it was $100, she wouldn't give any money to the town?
I think she would.
Yeah.
Sales.
So why is it not generating sales tax? Why is it any different?
She paid the fee he paid to take that class, she
It's
charged tax
it's
on?
a cash register sale.
Yeah. I mean, she's not providing a
Service.
service. It's like you're going there to take a class, and so if it was $100, then
So
some of
classes
that
are
money should.
taxable, is what you're
I'm
saying.
not, I'm not saying I know that. I'm just saying like,
That's my question. Are classes taxable?
I believe they are, but we can
Can
certainly,
we, a direction to check into that, please?
I think if you buy a massage gift certificate, or if you go get a massage, they charge you tax, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure
know.
it's given on my receipt.
Never had it.
You had indoor pickleball. I feel like that, so many people would come in here during the wintertime. There's no-
well, they're like, there's that,
It would bring so many people.
what's the one that's in Chapel Square where you can go play golf?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
I bought people gift certificates.
Sales
for that.
tax
That's
generating.
popular.
yeah, I know.
And they
Well,
probably sell beer.
That's got a bar in it.
You can't park anymore in Avon Bakery.
Like go play 18 holes and,
Playing.
and have
Curling.
some
Does it
beer.
what?
Curling center.
Playing every day of the
Curling
class.
center.
Curling.
Cool would that
Amazing.
I didn't even know, is that where the massage studio is?
No, it's next to the bakery. Replace the nutrition stuff.
I do think Jeff has a good point that, you know, if somebody wants to come and make an investment and it sort of falls, we've got a lot of guidelines, you know, it's, nothing's cheap downtown. I don't think they're gonna spend a couple $1 million and put
I
it.
say it should stay.
Jeff, what are,
Conditional use.
Scott, what is our definition?
Even as is.
When we are saying that people, if they. Okay, so you sell a home, somebody goes in to want to build, but they have to put commercial on the bottom. What is the definition of what that, what commercial is relating to? What are there different things in there?
I don't
Because
know. that
maybe
we-
what I'm thinking as commercial is different than what you're saying.
How we regulated that, I don't think is in the definition. I think it's just in the uses that we've allowed to be split out, street level
So the
versus
sales,
second
and the
floor.
sales tax is the important part.
That's how we
So our-
prioritize the uses.
Our current definition of commercial use means an activity involving the sale of goods or services carried out for profit,
So
Which means we
services
can-
are included.
Yeah.
Okay,
which means we can tax it.
so as long as we, as a town, make sure that those services are collecting sales tax on their services, we're good.
Probably
I don't
falls
know
under
how
code
the
enforcement.
town, or any town for that matter, collects sales tax on a service provided by an accountant run out of their home,
Oh, yeah.
right? So there's probably a nuance there, but this is meant, I think, to capture the sale of goods or services for profit, which
Okay.
covers the things we're talking about. It may, I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying? To me, there's a bit of a hole there.
So let's
which
see if we can fill it.
Yeah,
Well, and it would be, wouldn't it also be, I don't think we want to sit up here and if someone came downtown in the 100 block, let's say, and you know, Hawkeye sells his house and somebody builds a commercial building there with residential above. And there's X number of square feet on the main floor and somebody comes in and says, I want to put a yoga studio in there. And we go, well, indoor recreational facilities aren't allowed, so sorry. And that building sits vacant and sucks wind for a year because we limited, you know, we're waiting for a better use. I don't think that's why we're sitting here.
And I think back when Chelsea started, that was sort of the way it happened. Because
Yeah,
we
they
had
just
never-
wanted somebody to pay the rent.
Right, well, and we had never had anything like that down there. And so then, yeah, you can go in there, but can you get us some things to collect sales tax? And she did, and that was fine.
Well, it sounds like she should have been collecting sales tax on every person that came in to take a class. And maybe she was.
we can ask, we'll ask Cindy and Jay.
Good idea.
Sure Jay knows.
He definitely knows.
Harold, do you have anything on page 15?
No.
Jeff,
Cleared it.
Yes. I would like to ask the question, why are we limiting, for the same reason, commercial indoor storage in any of the mixed-use zones? Because we live in a valley where everybody has a lot of toys and things, then no garage space, and if you have a garage, if you're lucky enough to have one, it's usually filled with your stuff and your car's out in the driveway. So, I don't know, like, why are we just not having anywhere in town that we can have commercial indoor storage if it's,
I know one answer to that,
which is?
because believe me, I would have had, it's a cash cow and it's easy.
Yeah.
But Minturn has had it restricted for a long period of time.
Mhm.
Now, your question in regards to why is it limited? I would think that,
No, why is it not allowed anywhere,
I think it should, I
other
think
than
the-
Civic?
Civic and Makerspace.
I mean, I don't think it should be indoor storage units
on Main Street, well,
on mixed use, like residential, like.
no.
That's why, it just doesn't, that's when I think clearly we thought, if it didn't already exist as prohibited and those carried over from previous zone districts, our recommendation would remain the same, that in mixed-use zone districts,
No,
it's not something I would think the town would want to see. There's
It's-
other spots where we did allow for that. So,
I think Civic, you could have a building where you could do that, and I think Maker's Place, you could have a building where you could do that, and you've got the parking available.
the only hitch, and this goes back to the conversation we were having with contractor storage, and why is it conditional use in mixed use one? Because mixed use one right now is proposed over the rail yard. Same thing with commercial indoor storage. That's one place where I think we might want to allow that, is on the rail yard, which would mean it's either a conditional use or something like that in mixed use one. All of which makes me think that maybe we should, I don't know how I feel about this, I'm thinking out loud, but maybe we should take another look at mixed use one as it applies to the rail yard. Because if there's things that we would normally want in other mixed use zone districts, and that's just not a good fit for the rail yard, or it's compromising our ability to really think about mixed use zone districts,
Seems like it is.
yeah.
The rail yard for indoor storage.
The rail yard just kind of has its own set of circumstances that makes it a very unique zone.
We were trying to get that out of the PUD holding zone, which means nothing and gives us no guidance on what we're supposed to do with stuff out there.
It's called the rail yard.
Good.
It's Scott, that also, I think, I want to say that it came out of the community plan too, from the recommended zoning map.
Yeah.
And that pulled from the 2009 community plan, which showed the rail yard as an extension of the downtown as kind of like this aspirational thing. So this is carryover from actually two different community plans.
Matt, could we, tomorrow, Friday, whenever, take another look at this and maybe come back with a recommendation of how to treat that if we were to treat it differently?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know if we want to ask for direction now. I mean, one thought would be to go with Makerspace if that rail yard's intended to kind of be more of a heavy commercial and light industrial part of town. But yeah, we can take another look.
Okay, it is 20 of 8. I'm going to ask that we take a 5-minute recess break,
Okay,
get up, stretch our legs, and come back and we'll start again.
fair enough.
Okay,
On 15,
Yeah, on 15 with Scott, for Scott, when Scott talks with Matt, one thing to consider when you're talking about indoor storage and you come up with an idea for that is indoor storage. It's definitely a cash cow if you own the building, but it's not a tax generator. That's all I have to say.
page 17.
how about
We're
16?
over 16.
Oh, 16. Where did I flip?
Okay,
Wait a minute.
Eric first.
Start with your friend next door to you first, please.
Why does it always me?
Because you're at the end of the road, and I go down the road.
Left to right.
That way we don't miss anybody. Sometimes we go right to left. Michael, can you just that mention there?
Yes, oh, sorry, I took all your water.
Do you have anything,
I
Eric?
don't have anything right now. Yeah.
So, I have a lot of questions on this one. Yes. So I thought we had a whole discussion on parks, playgrounds, and open space. And I thought we had, and maybe you could pull up this old directive, but I thought we had left open space by itself, but we had revised it so that it was truly open space. Or maybe there was a recommendation to go review it.
I think you're thinking about the zone district, not the use.
Okay.
Yeah, so the zone district rec and open space is different from the use across the board that allows parks and playgrounds in residential neighborhoods, et cetera, if
Okay.
that makes sense.
We still have recreation and open space as one, like as one, as together. And I guess, I thought we had discussed on splitting open space, because there were some places that were in that open recreation and open space, like combined zone district, that we didn't really think belonged, like that you really shouldn't have a park or playground on, that should be truly open space, like the water tower, like we had the hillside and the water tower, like we had some really, I think, good conversations around that, and it just doesn't feel like this
That makes sense.
is reflecting those conversations.
So we definitely had conversations about splitting civic and open space better.
Okay.
Those two different zone districts, not splitting recreation and open space into two. With the fact that rec and open space is, I think, singularly owned by the town, right?
Civic is.
No, civic's not singularly owned by the town, the cemetery is owned. Yeah. But rec and open space is singularly owned by the town.
Right.
So this is where I don't think it's necessarily us disagreeing with you. It's more the town manager wanting to make sure we have as much flexibility as possible in the zone districts that are specifically town-owned, like rec and open space and civic. So that's why you don't see indoor recreational facilities taken out of something like rec and open space. Mainly because, one, they need planning commission and council approval and the public's approval to do anything on town land anyways. So if it's truly not appropriate and the public comes out and tells us that, I don't see council going through and saying, oh no, we're gonna completely disregard what everybody's saying, we're gonna build this massive gym on this piece of open space. But we'd still like to retain the town manager, and then him talking to us would still like to retain the flexibility inherent within primarily town-owned zone districts. So, you're right, we definitely did talk about splitting the civic and the open and rec space zone districts, more than they are apparently split now. This is just, as I said, kind of where we're trying to build in flexibility for ourselves as the people who would be developing any potential parcels.
Okay, that makes sense. So thank you for that clarification. The next on this page is trails and trailheads. So it looks like the only places that allow trails and trails heads, and it's really that definition of trailheads, is civic and recreation and open space. And I feel like
And railroad.
And railroad, yeah.
in railroad. But so I feel like there's the Martin, and again, this map is like, but the Martin Creek Trailhead,
That's in federal lands.
so that comes down, that's that dark, the dark green, like little
Yeah.
sliver in between there.
Yeah, it should be, that should be federal lands.
Okay,
which-
and it's allowed there.
It's not allowed there.
Well, use is allowed under federal regulations is allowed
Yeah.
under
It's
federal
not-
lands, so I assume trails are allowed on federal lands, like that's
what
not
about
something we
trailheads?
govern.
Do we need it?
Cause I mean, obviously US Forest Service maintains trails and trailheads throughout
Right.
USFS, so I would assume that's covered under federal
I
regulations.
think that is
Can
fair.
we verify that?
Yeah, I'm just still looking at the fact that it's not allowed in federal land.
Townhomes.
I don't think we allow anything
There's
other
nothing
than
else allowed in
uses allowed by federal
and
regulations.
wireless communications.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like purposefully.
so everything kind of funnels down into that uses allowed under federal regulations, which would include a trail or a trailhead.
Right, theoretically.
Okay, and then Michael just brought up another one, which is that property that's at the very end of Taylor, that has the trailhead coming off of it, and that's a private, and that is in R2. And that has that trailhead.
The
The
townhomes,
trailhead itself is not within town boundaries. You just have to cross private property to get to it.
and they gave access, they,
They always have access.
yeah,
The Palmetiers, I think, were the previous owners of it.
no,
They
not
gave
that one,
access.
not that one, I'm talking about
Is it
the
at the end of-
Minturn townhomes,
There's
because
two
the
there.
Lions had one.
Oh, that one.
That
We
one,
have
when,
two,
when
both
the
of those.
townhomes
Oh, I
was,
don't know about
when
that.
the townhomes was built, it was, when they were built, the agreement that they made with the town is that they would keep the access open so you could get to the trailhead, which I think it is, but I don't think people know about it.
No, I come out there, it's on the biking trail, we bike it all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, so you come down through like
Yeah.
your back parking lot, there's a,
There's a trail right there.
there's a
Other
trail.
than the railroad tracks?
No,
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 it's,
no.
Really?
it's
Okay.
right in the back, it's right
Yeah.
in between their buildings.
Yeah, and it loops back over to the Minturn Mile, so it's an awesome bike trail.
Yeah,
Who owns that property? Is that also federal?
No, it's not, it's an R2 also. So if we could just make sure we're not excluding any of our current trailheads, because I'm sure people would love to close them down.
that's a fact.
That's a fact, get off my land.
You don't wanna lose any trailheads.
No,
No,
Okay.
It's okay, it's either US Forest Service. or
especially if they're already rogue and illegal.
yeah,
Depending on where the trail
Yeah.
is in relation to it. It's not legal.
Okay, so could we just verify
OJ's trailer.
If you drive up there,
we don't have
Madison,
any existing
Yeah.
trailheads
yeah.
Elsewhere
elsewhere
and where it's allowed.
than where it's allowed? And if we do, then make it like whatever, a C, so that we already have that condition. Okay, I think that's it for my, page 16, sorry guys.
Michael?
I'm good.
Mine is on duplexes street level, what do the asterisks go for?
That has to do with, I believe, historic preservation. So if it's, designated historic, then, you don't have to change, or you can do it on the first level in 100 block.
So the note for that is number 2. It says street level residential uses in the 100 block A and 100 block B zone districts are permitted on historic properties subject to applicable requirements. of
Where are you
this chapter.
saying this note is? I'm sorry, Scott.
It's down at the bottom of the table. There's 3 notes. So we've got the superscript 1, 2, and 3.
Page 18.
Oh, you have to go to page 18 to find
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm on page 16.
Better get your magnifying glass.
Yeah. So it's, which one? Number 2?
Residential use. Permitted on his-
Make a note that that's where it's at.
Okay.
And did we have a definition for group home? Did we talk about that yet?
Feel like Matt provided examples of group home last time y'all wanted to look through all potential definitions.
There's also a comment on page 17 that covers that.
So a group home, this is something we did a bit of research into. And so a group home is sort of a dwelling that there's sort of communal, a group living occurs, but it's for certain people that are protected under the Fair Housing Act, people with disabilities, things of that nature. And so, based on the research, it's highly advised not to treat group homes any differently than any other type of housing type, because it could be perceived as discrimination, and the town could get into some legal trouble. So in group homes, there is as Scott noted, there's an example definition in the comments on the side. But it includes housing for people with disabilities, mental health conditions, or developmental disabilities. So it's folks who are protected under the Fair Housing Act, and you can potentially run into issues if it looks like you're discriminating against those types of housing options. So
Was that in relation to the question I asked about the one that's on Main Street? I assume that is a reference to a group home?
No, I didn't think anybody lived in that one, it was just kind of more
It
of a
just they
daycare
get dropped off
facility.
daily?
Yeah.
Okay. Parking garage in the 100 block?
Okay, where are you saying that? Or, are we on page 17 or 16?
16.
16?
I thought we were on the group home page.
Huh?
Municipal parking garage?
Oh, municipal, okay.
You've got it in Civic, and you've got it in the 100 block.
It's on 16.
That has to do.
I mean, are we on?
Potential land swap.
And it's in mixed.
You might as well. I've heard it from a million people already.
Yeah, I mean, sure,
Okay.
yeah. So the idea behind that would be, once again, town doing what the town needs to do. And if they owned a property in those zone districts and they wanted to develop municipal parking, either as a lot or a parking garage like a structure, they could do that.
well, one of the things we could do for a municipal parking garage or any sort of parking garage in the 100 block is have a standard that it's wrapped with retail space or things like that. There's parking garages in different places in the country where they're kind of the middle of the building is the parking structure, but on the outside there's shops and stuff. So it kind of camouflages the garage, and then also creates activity and sales tax dollars.
Matt, do you know what they call those?
A wrapped garage.
A Texas wrap,
That's
because
happening.
it's been popularized in the state of Texas.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know that I envision any parcel in the 100 block specifically big enough to do something like that. Although Greg Sparhawk had a concept where everything got leveled in the 100 block and then you'd build a parking garage and then you'd wrap it.
Yep, I remember that.
But that's what is intended, is allowing that a use by right. So municipal means town-owned, obviously. And if there were a deal where there was a parcel available that someone wanted to swap the town for, that would allow for
Do you
that.
understand there's discussion going on?
Discussion's a heavy term. There's been one conversation about 3 months ago.
You're talking about the community, is it like?
No,
Never.
just a parcel for sale that isn't selling and someone wondering if the town would want to buy it or swap it for some other piece of town-owned land. So,
Short end of the stick on that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Why do I have railroad right away?
Okay, so there's no changes that you're suggesting, Lynn, on the municipal parking garage?
Well, I mean, I know what he's saying. I had heard that there was another, there is a parcel, yeah, I've heard multiple stories. I've heard at least 3 different stories, so I don't want to repeat them. But I know what you're talking about,
So then,
and I don't agree with it.
So then mixed use one is that it's a use by right for parking, municipal parking, garage.
Well, that, my question was, what is our current law?
It covers the rail yard, so when we relook
That's
at the
municipal
rail
law.
yard.
Okay, that's
we
why I've got that.
consider that, just consider that use as in part of your analysis.
Yeah.
If you're keeping a list.
I think it's,
And what is the definition for rail? R-A-I-L.
Train with.
I know, but what does that mean? It just, if we
where do
can
you
add it
where
to
do
the
you
civic
see that?
area, if they come back
It's
and
right there,
if that
it's use.
would be where you'd have the passenger train drop them off or what? Because it's under civic. I can see where it's under railroad right-of-way transportation, but why is it under civic?
That's an interesting question.
Thank you.
Why do we do that?
So an example definition for rail would be a system of tracks and related infrastructure, which could include a rail yard, bridges, stations, etc., used for the movement of goods and/or people via trains.
So we're only allowing rail in our civic properties.
And railroad.
No.
There's some new narrow gauge public transportation.
Oh, I got
I
it.
don't know about that's how that works.
Yeah, the only reason I can think of for why we made that decision is potentially
trolley car.
because of it passing through between Little Beach and the cemetery.
Hmm.
Cause that'll pass.
Well, that's what I'm
through
saying, would
civic.
that be considered a stop or a passenger drop-off? And we could do, well, no, that doesn't work with the parking.
It
Well,
would
people
be-
can get on there in a parking car.
Even if it passes through, it would actually be in the rail right-of-way
Right.
district, so.
The other piece to this is, as was alluded to earlier, there's been direction to try and incorporate as much flexibility in the zone districts that largely cover town-owned properties. So what we did as staff is go through the civic zone district and look at different uses that try to allow as many uses by right as possible that made sense. I mean, just allowing rail, maybe it'll never happen. It just seemed like something that maybe if at some point in the future it made sense to have a rail line or something that extends into town-owned property to allow it.
I don't think it's a terrible idea. Nothing's gonna happen anyway.
Well, I only could, because we have a lot of things developing that, to me, in civic, that was here last time.
Excuse me.
And yet, I just, are we putting too much into that area? Do we have that much room there?
Well, just because we allow 50 uses or whatever the amount of uses, doesn't mean all 50 will actualize. It's just flexibility around usually.
If there ends up being a train, if that's the case, electric, hopefully. But if there ends up being something that comes down those tracks, we're probably gonna wanna stop instead of having them just keep going.
You would think it would be down
Probably
the
gonna be
railroad.
oil.
What's that?
It's probably gonna be oil.
Yeah,
Then we don't
About
need
the
to
only thing
stop.
that can pay for it.
And it would-
We need to
You
stop.
would think it would be in the railroad yard where the
Hopefully
railroad's
it's
the
definitely not
property.
oil.
I think we're wasting a lot of time on rail and it's,
I just, mine was definition, what is it?
it's a train.
It's referring to the train.
It's a
I've already
train.
got the railroad thing there, okay. Do you want to? No, you can't combine it, because your kids have gotta have the railroad thing. Okay. Daryl,
I just wanted to understand the definition, institutional, is that like educational and all?
Educational, religious, anything essentially that's like nonprofit for the betterment of a group or groups of people or something like that. Government buildings fall under that,
Okay,
that kind of stuff.
okay,
Nonprofit essentially.
okay, thank you.
I'll make that.
Yes, you'll notice that that pretty much goes across the board exactly as how it's adopted in the code. I was not willing to touch. I didn't feel like after the 40 grand or however much we spent on that RLUIPA lawyer that we should touch the recommendations of where it should be allowed.
Good call.
We will roll with no comment.
page 17, Eric.
Start next to the short-term rentals where it's used by right for everywhere, that's just because it's So just giving everybody the right to just use certain places as short-term.
So the short-term rental asterisk, and I apologize for not having a superscript next to this, the asterisk actually refers also to historic preservation, and that if you have a historically designated property, you are not held to the 2-year ownership requirements. That is the only exception to the short-term rental regulations that asterisk provides. Otherwise, yes, any zone district that has housing, you are entitled per chapter 6 to use your house as short-term rental as long as 1, we haven't met the cap, 2, you've owned it for 2 years, or 3, you live on the property currently and therefore can immediately rent a certain percentage of the house out.
So it doesn't feel like the asterisk aligned to the note.
Yes, that's why I said I apologize for not having a superscript for that. So the superscript will have the note that clarifies that, hey, this is for historic preservation has the 2-year exemption.
Okay.
Is that it, Eric? Okay. Amanda?
So on this one, single family dwellings has a, I think this is just an error, has a not allowed in mixed use too.
Is highlighted.
So that I believe was a carryover from again the consolidation of existing zone districts, and it's highlighted. And I apologize, there's no comment to address that, but it was something that we noted the last time Madison, Scott, and I spoke as something that maybe needs to be revisited because it's allowed as a use by right in MU1, MU3, and I believe the purpose statement for MU2 includes single family homes as one of the housing types that it's intended for. So
Matt, that needs to be looked at too as downtown B. Isn't that where it goes uphill? That's Sullivan and
Yeah, there's a bunch of it.
Devon, and there's a bunch of them at the top of B. It's like 5,
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at least that are there already.
Under block B.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
That'd be an R.
Well, what about Hawkeye's house and what about,
They're A.
yes,
And
they're not
mixed
allowed
use.
either.
No.
No.
Oh,
because-
yeah.
Because they're not gonna be allowed if they ever come down.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
We're not touching that.
Guy, I feel you.
So is 100 block B an R? No.
it's not allowed.
So the same thing, when those houses, if and when
When they
those
come
houses ever come down, they're never.
So like Tommy, what about, say, for example, people that might have houses up there that, smaller houses that might want to build a better house than what they have?
Then they will need to put commercial on the ground floor.
Yeah.
So like the little yellow house that's in front of
Devon
this,
in
like
question.
Devon's,
It's
yeah.
them-
Devon's.
them.
All single-family homes within the 100 block are pre-existing non-conformity. So if it comes down, they now need.
Has
to
it been that way all the time?
It's been that
No,
way
it's
for at
been
least 2 or
since-
3 years.
Yeah, since we adopted the 100 block design guidelines and decided to prioritize commercial uses within the 100 block.
There's very heated, very long discussions at the council level about
Yes.
that.
What's like the Minturn Hotel, what is that?
That's commercial accommodations.
That's commercial, is that what that
The
is?
top floor.
It was polarizing.
That place has a nice roof.
So is MU2 gonna turn into an R?
Yeah,
Wonder who made.
I think it should because it certainly says that in the community plan and I don't think it makes sense to not have it be allowed use, so we'll flag that. And
That's why it's mixed use.
And then that usage is only if that house comes down, correct? If they pass it on to,
Continue, yeah.
yes,
as a
if they
single
pass it
family.
on to family, it can stay that way.
Even if they sell it outright, it can still continue as a single family home. They just can't tear it down to the ground and try to rebuild it as a
Okay.
single family home.
But they could remodel it.
They can remodel the inside, They can't expand the nonconformity, so they can't like put additions onto it to make it a bigger single-family home.
Or
Like the footprint stays the same.
can they go up? This is just for my own knowledge.
That's a gray area, but usually we say no to a vertical
So at one point,
nonconformity.
the planning commission was okay with people going up because that interpretation was that it was not exacerbating the nonconformity. However, then the planning commission changed their mind and decided that they were no longer okay with that and that everything needed to conform, even if you weren't going out to extend it, even going up would extend it.
And have we gone, not to get off on a dumb subject, but there was a time when the planning commission would allow you to tear down all but one wall of your house. And you could still call it the same house.
It's across the street from me.
I know it is.
No, there's 50% of the valuation of the structure if you
Demo
modify
it?
or, huh?
If you demo 50%,
If you modify or change 50% of the valuation of the structure, if you do remodels that affect more than 50%, then you need to comply with the nonconformities.
Which unless they have to pull a building permit, I'm not sure how we keep track
So
of that.
let me get this straight to clarify, when you comply with nonconformities. So you got a house,
Mhm.
you take half of it down because it's falling apart, but you keep the good part. Then if you come in to rebuild that, you have to stay within that
Correct.
foundation formation.
If you think about it from a structure standpoint or a size, I guess that's one way to conceptualize it. Ours is actually valuation. Does that make sense? So if you touch a building that affects more than 50% of the appraised value, you have to then rebuild it in a manner that conforms to the current code.
which would be commercial
In this specific district.
in this specific instance.
In regards to just the conversation we're having, like 100 block or whatever, we still, are keeping the part that says, like, God forbid your house burns down, we're gonna let them build, right?
If
There's always
a-
going to be that
yeah.
provision
I think
for,
we have a natural
Yeah,
disaster clause,
yeah.
yeah.
I would just clarify, and we'll get to the non-conforming requirements at a later stage in this process. A use of a building for a single-family dwelling, that would be a non-conforming use. I don't think that would be a non-conforming structure. But and there's typically codes have different requirements for non-conforming use versus a non-conforming structure. Scott and Madison, if I'm wrong about that, definitely feel to chime in. But I think the use of a building as a single-family home, if that went away, then somebody couldn't come back and continue using it as a house typically. If it's if you abandon a non-conforming use, that right goes away.
Right, our code states that if the non-conforming use has been abandoned, I think for a year, then you can't re-up that use. So say Lynn's shop obviously used to be a house, it was then commercial, you couldn't turn that back into single family because it hasn't been a single family use for decades at this point. So,
The council did because they're allowing that to become a short-term rental.
yes,
so we also have a provision that says if
that's
an,
different, this is historic preservation.
that kind of blends the two concepts. If a non-conforming structure or portion thereof of a structure containing a non-conforming use, i.e. a single-family home in the 100 block, becomes physically unsafe or unlawful due to the lack of repairs or maintenance and is declared by either the building inspector or the owner to be an unsafe structure, it shall thereafter be rebuilt and repaired in conformance with the standards of the chapter, including plumbing and fuel and mechanical codes and stuff like that. You also, what's that?
Can they resume the use?
Only if they build back that part of the structure to meet code. So,
And that happened by me. They tore it down because it was literally, that portion of the home was falling apart. But they went back and did basically the same thing, just new.
yeah.
But
So-
most of the houses there in the 100 block B are fairly new
They're
houses.
new, yeah.
So they're not gonna fall necessarily into that.
2000s, yeah.
And so there is also the exception, Michael, to If 50% or more of the appraised value is damaged due to fire, there's an exception. You can rebuild that as it was.
Well, I remember when Jim's house burned where Rocky Mountain Taco is. Remember the fireman?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't his name Jim? Is that when Minturn had their own fire department, and the guy's house burned where Rocky Mountain. Jim, huh? Yeah. And his house burned, and it would have been wrong not to let him put his house back.
Is that where Rocky Mountain Taco, is that where the triplex was?
Could be the triplex.
The triplex.
Yeah.
Right next to the taco.
I watched that fire from my house. Okay,
On 17, we're on 17.
we're at 17.
I think this is covered in another area anyway, but like the quote accessory buildings or this and that. And I'm sure it's a whole nother page, so we don't need to get into it dramatically, but I think at one point you could have like one accessory building. And I think there's, whether I'm thinking of a building or a shed or whatever, maybe I'm just, it's getting late, I'm getting confused.
So on page 19, under accessory uses, B3, we have more than one accessory use per lot is allowed in all zone districts. If each use is allowed in the applicable zone district and all uses apply with all applicable requirements of this chapter, including but not limited to the general use standards, use specific standards, dimensional requirements, and development standards. So for example, if you wanted to have more than one accessory building, and your lot was big enough so that you weren't, running up against setbacks or building coverage and lot coverage, theoretically, with the way the impervious coverage, the way the code is proposed now, you would be allowed to have more than one accessory building.
No,
And with those two,
You're talking
so
about
wait,
uses and buildings. Are you talking about buildings?
Oh, sorry, I thought he was talking about buildings.
buildings.
well, no, that makes sense what you're saying in regards to buildings, and I was talking about, I know at one point, you could only have one building there, and I also, that I noticed that you can have multifamily if your lot's bigger than 7,500 foot. Like,
That's coming up later, Michael.
So we, yeah, so
sorry,
it's gonna,
I'm good.
okay, so, but for
Go ahead.
accessory building or structure, we're allowing use by right across the board.
Yes.
Okay,
And,
yeah, it's across the use, yeah,
and
okay.
right now, the way this is down on page 28, but accessory buildings or structures, there's no limit on the number of.
But it's still limited by the square footage, so you can only so you could put 3 buildings that are all equal to the 200 square feet, three separate structures,
Well,
or could they couldn't each be 200 feet.
I don't think
200
sheds-
square
feet.
200 square feet is directly tied to the building code.
Yeah,
It used to be 120 square feet, a 10 by 20 shed. Anything over a 10 by 20 shed required a building permit.
Yeah.
Current code requires a building permit for anything over 200 square feet. So that's what that's talking about. It doesn't mean you can't build a 1,000 square foot accessory building, which could be a garage
okay,
with an ADU above it, right?
okay, so you could do that, so you're not limited by the square footage, it's just what if you have to pull a building permit for the square footage.
Correct.
Okay, great,
And
thank
you have to meet lot coverage.
I know, and I know we just jumped down to pages way below. I'm good on,
You can
I don't
currently-
have any other
Page
questions.
17?
You can
I'm
currently,
still on page 17, I have no other questions.
you can currently have multiple sheds, Scott, is that where we're at?
Give multiple
Well, if it
sheds
fits
as
your
long
lot,
as you.
Michael, think of my lot, you're my roofer, you know where my garage is.
No, I don't have a problem with your garage, I just,
But what
I
I'm
know
saying
at
is
one
I
point.
would still have room to have put a shed up there if I want.
You would, and there's look at Greg Sparhawk's old place too, he had the back accessory with the garage, and then he had.
I remember when Frank had his house, he was only allowed to have one shed, so that's why I was asking.
I think right now, you're only allowed to have one accessory building.
We have specific standards for sheds right now.
Separate, yeah, separate. Sheds are still one, or they're whatever you want?
No, they can't be more than 120 square feet without a building permit.
But we combine them into accessory.
It can't be, must be located in rear or side yards.
Shisha.
They currently require a limited use review, which is really stupid.
So, Scott, I mean, we're not quite to the standards yet, but the way we're recommending it is sheds would be considered an accessory building or structure.
The shed is equal, that's how I was interpreting
Yeah.
the below, okay.
And that's why I thought Michael was talking about accessory structures or buildings.
Yeah, no, I was, and then I just got off the rails.
That's okay.
Seriously,
So-
please, stay with our, stay in.
So the language that's proposed in here, you could have multiple sheds on your property if you stayed within setbacks, lot coverage, etc. Or you could have a garage and a shed and a chicken coop and whatever.
Perfect. Okay, I don't have anything else on 17.
Michael,
No, I am good on 17, thank you.
accessory dwelling units, street level, asterisks, number 2, so I have to go to page 18 for that, correct? Street level residential uses in the 100 block A and 100 block B zone districts are permitted on historic properties subject to all applicable requirements of this chapter. So what you're saying, you could do an accessory dwelling unit, but is that on Main Street or is that on William Street?
What if it's within 100 block A and B? So,
So you could put a shed out in front of the 2 historical buildings?
says it's permitted per subject to all applicable requirements of this chapter, so do we still have the requirement that it can only be in the side and rear yards
What?
for accessory dwelling units in accessory buildings?
No,
We don't.
I
Get
don't
rid of
think
that?
so.
What I'm saying is if this is relating to historical, does that mean for 151 and 155 that you're allowed to put up an accessory dwelling unit in the front yard?
We're waiting on Scott.
And
I
same
think that's
question
a
for accessory
big
building structure.
So right now, we're proposing for an accessory building or structure that the principal use of the property is a residential use, if the present principal use is a residential use. An accessory building or structure shall be limited to and intended for the use only by the residents of the property, which we have a note there that we need to talk about. Building permit is required for anything over 200 square feet, and then location of sheds. It says the shed is only permitted in the rear or side yard and may encroach into a required rear yard setback if it is a minimum of 5 feet from any property line.
So it's only allowed on side or back?
Well, an accessory dwelling unit, street level, under A and B, say N, but then it says 2, and it has the asterisk, and then you go over here.
So under we did add an additional standard for accessory dwelling units that says in the 100 block A, 100 block B, makerspace, mixed use 1, 2, and 3, a street level accessory dwelling unit is not permitted to front on Main Street.
Thank you,
Yes.
Got it. Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
because that would totally destroy the purpose of.
So it can exist on the first floor in 100 block.
If
Because
it's in
if
the-
it's historically designated.
If it's historically designated, that was the like carrot.
Right,
That has
exactly.
not been taken.
Has not been taken.
Nothing sets off a historical building like a shed.
Yeah. Or those big
I was
beautiful
thinking
willow
you
trees.
could do like an outhouse and it'd be kind of fun. Horse throw like go find yourself an old outhouse.
I mean, look at Helen's
But
house.
you
There's one
better
up
get
in
your
Lloyd
gas,
Park.
you
I
better
know,
get,
it's a giant,
you
he's so
better get
fun.
your gas locates before you start digging a hole.
Look at Helen's house. It has like 3 different sheds. I feel like it's all very appropriate to the historic nature of the house.
And midterm,
And midterm.
to be honest, we got a lot of sheds
We
around
got a
here.
lot of sheds. Okay.
Okay.
So 17, senior house use, or historic preservation, we got that taken care of, finished. Oh, Matt, and I see this little thing here that looks like a computer now, I didn't. Comment MF14, requesting planning commission input on group residential facilities in use type that has been added, but the very last sentence kind of rambles off.
Yeah, I apologize that for whatever reason, when this was pulled out a word that comment in full comment didn't get included. So what that comment says, it's an example definition of group residential facility. If I can get my computer to, here we go. So a group residential facility, it's a group, more or less a group home with people living in it that are not protected under the Fair Housing Act. And so examples of a group residential facility would be transitional housing development, correctional diversion program housing, post-incarceration program housing, and domestic violence shelter.
Post-incarceration,
Halfway houses.
huh?
Halfway houses.
Halfway home.
Back into society.
Why are we not allowed to?
Well, it's allowed in Block A, Block B, Civic, Mixed Use 1, Mixed Use 2, Mixed Use 3, R1, R2, R3. Is this another thing that you cannot control?
No, I believe you can. So these are people who are not protected under the Fair Housing Act. So you can, some places will have distance standards, like you can only have, you know, a group residential facility can't be within, say, 500 feet of another facility, things like that. So there's spacing requirements. So you can have standards and regulate them differently than you would like a multifamily dwellings or a single family dwelling.
And it's allowed second level and above on those, and then street level only in R3. I'm
So
looking at the residential neighborhoods.
yeah, and this is what staff is proposing is we thought it made sense to allow these in a similar manner that multifamily dwellings and single family dwellings are allowed. So treat them in the same manner as other housing types. That said, you don't have to do that.
And the reason why we proposed it in R3 but not R1 and R2 is because R3, one is like 4 lots, and 2,
Where is that?
it's Martine
Martin
Creek.
Creek.
And 2, those lots have a minimum lot size of 2 acres. So, I mean, if
Might
you're
be
going
a very
to kind
pleasant
of,
environment too.
right, if you're going to try and kind
Peaceful.
of
Yes.
pull them out so that they're not necessarily
Excuse me.
impacting a neighborhood, that might be the ideal place to have them, in a place where they're surrounded.
What is the
essentially by trees.
difference? Well, what is facility? Because one is a home and the 2 are facility. Is that just a bigger building?
Group home is the one that's protected by the Fair
Yeah,
Housing
that's
Act.
different.
Group residential facility is the one that's not protected
Thank
by
you.
the Fair Housing Act.
So, and an example definition is a residence that provides a community living environment for persons requiring custodial care, medical treatment, or specialized social services, but does not meet the definition of a Federal Housing Act group home. And then then it goes into the types of uses I talked about: a transitional housing development, domestic violence shelter, post-incarceration housing, et cetera.
Page 17.
So,
And
I think that's what I have on page 17. Amanda, did you have something else?
well, and I'm sorry, I was getting a little bit lost with exhaustion, but so why would we not allow that group residential facility in R1, R2?
the reason why staff didn't propose to allow it in those is just because, 1, they aren't protected by the Fair Housing Act, and 2, there is the potential for impacts to the neighborhoods for things like halfway houses or DV shelters. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have those in neighborhoods. I mean, these people need to live places.
Yeah.
But just in case there was potentially any negative pushback from the community, maybe the more densely populated neighborhoods aren't the most appropriate place, but obviously this was just staff's kind of,
I mean, I feel
Okay,
like
we
we
should
should
put
maybe
this.
put a C then, that it's like a conditional use. And only, I mean, just my exposure, because I have a good friend has her brother that lives in one, because he is like autistic, and like, they're wonderful neighbors. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so it just feels like maybe if we do a C, because I can see where if it's like halfway house, that may be something different. Like, so if we do a C, because then it would have to come through.
Where are you looking at this, Amanda?
for the group residential facilities, that these are ones that are not covered by the fair lending. They're like, we're not allowing them at all in R1 and R2. I feel like we should have like a C or an L for those, for R1 and R2. And that's just,
Well, the homes are allowed in R1 or
But
R2.
I don't think you would want a sex offender in the neighborhood.
that's why I said a C.
Conditional.
A C,
Rather just
condition,
put it in, not
Because-
even think about it.
because I mean, my exposure to these homes are
I'm with you.
different probably than what, like, I just feel like the ones that I'm exposed to are like where the young man has like autism, and he's a very functional autist. Has very functional autism, and he goes to a job, and he's a great neighbor and does gardening. And I mean, it's like that. I don't see why we would restrict. Like, so I'm saying a C, because then we would be able to know what it's used for. What
So-
type it is. I don't know.
I think so. So folks who have disabilities, mental health conditions, or developmental disabilities, those are people that would, if there's a group of those folks living together, that would fall under a group home. And they're protected under the Fair Housing Act. A group residential facility would be more like a halfway house, a domestic violence shelter. So folks with autism, if there was like a home where people with autism live, I think that would fall under group home.
Okay, thank you.
So do you still feel the same way?
So,
I mean, I still feel like, I don't know. I mean, I hear what Daryl, like, continues.
I understand what Amanda's saying is in respect to that, you know,
I just think N is like very like,
and what Matt said, a lot of that stuff is covered in the group home, group residential facility. You know, I'm biased, I would put it as C, wherever we have it as a right.
yeah.
Well, we
I
have
mean,
it
I
as a
wouldn't wanna
right.
put it as an R.
We
I don't
have
wanna
it
put
as an R, don't we have it as an R?
No, we
R
have the
and
home as an
R3.
R, and that covers autism, et cetera. But it does not cover people who are getting out of jail and going.
What about this group residential facility?
That's where
That's what
they
we're
go,
talking
and that's not protected by state.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, but it says right, right,
Civic
no, it says
and
mixed use
uses,
one,
right.
mixed use
But it
two.
does not save it in private home areas.
I know, I don't,
Mixed use areas.
I know, I don't.
Yeah, well, some of us live in mixed use areas.
I'd like to see it as a C. I would like to see it as a C, I mean, and across the board so that it could be reviewed.
Across the board or just in R1 and R2?
A C definitely in R1 and R2, and now that I'm thinking about this, probably
Across the board, Amanda.
across the board.
Except for civic?
It's gonna be a tough one right there.
It's gonna be a tough one, cause there's gonna be a lot of debate, there's gonna be a lot of people pitted against each other.
Same here.
It's really tough.
And the neighbors are gonna look ugly when they have to like discuss why they don't want that in their neighborhood.
But they should have the voice if it's, especially in mixed use one and, well, in all mixed uses too, cause there's residents that like are across the board. Yeah.
We're sort of controlling in our neighborhood, so we're probably okay.
Matt wants me to get like 5 ring cameras all in, spread them around.
5 what?
Ring cameras.
Ring?
The camera, doorbell cameras.
I definitely think you'd have a hard time getting the votes there, Amanda, to put it in R1 and R2.
It's out of here.
Okay, so 2 people think it should be conditional across the board, whereas proposed is a use by right currently, except with Scott's caveat of in civic. Can we keep it a use by right in civic?
Sure.
Okay, that's 2 votes. Is there a third consensus vote for changing it to conditional?
No.
No?
Oh, sure,
You
leave
wanna
it, leave it
as
on
a
us.
use, you wanna leave it as a use by right in our mixed
Oh, where, in
use 3?
civic?
No, mixed use 1, 2, and 3, we wanted to change it to
Change it to C.
conditional.
Just those.
Just those,
Just
No.
just that, but you wanted to change our 1 or 2.
no, we let you slide on that one.
We'll let you
Oh,
say.
if you want to change it to conditional in your mixed use,
Or in
mixed
all,
use 3 is going away from here. then we're
Okay.
fine.
no, in all mixed use,
Just the 3 mixed uses you wanna change to C.
correct.
And then we'll leave it as your N in R1 and R2.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
wanna leave it as use by right in the 100 block,
Sure.
No, I'd like to see it all Cs. I
I
feel like.
think you're 100.
I don't know how it
No,
fits
it's
in
wait,
100 block at all.
no, in the 100 block, it's not even, it's an N, it's a
Use
big
by right
Friday.
on the second floor.
Oh.
Is it a cash cow?
And it's also used by right in R3, which nobody's brought up.
I mean, okay, guys.
All right, so we're gonna go conditional everywhere that it's in R, and we're not gonna change R1, R2, and R3.
I
Exactly.
like that.
I like that too.
Okay, so it will stay in not allowed use in R1 and R2, and it will stay used by right in R3.
So where is R3?
Martin Creek.
Oh, we can make that a C too.
Make that a C.
Okay, so conditional everywhere except for civic, please.
Yeah.
That it's a use, where it's showing use by right, conditional, but not conditional in R1 or R2.
Correct.
Okay,
Got
is there
it,
consensus
girl.
on that?
Aye.
I.
Aye.
I count, I don't know.
You can. On this kind of stuff, we're not making a motion, your input counts.
All right. Yes, 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 yes.
How are you feeling?
We're gonna finish. We're gonna
Can I ask one more question
Hold
on this?
Sorry. I want to question this board or commission that we finish page 17 down to the end and then we call for an agenda.
I would.
What do you call it?
I'd like to finish page 18
I'd
and
like
then
to finish
call
all the 18 and call it.
Okay.
just
Are you
18.
okay with that? Everybody?
Stop at 18.
I'm dying to
Stop
know.
at
What,
18.
I'm dying to know what a
Past
parklet
18.
is.
No one goes past 18.
Okay, we're on page 17.
Okay, so one last question around this. Yes. Group residential facility, because this is new. This is a new thing. And I know that we're going to see Molloy and Molloy use in the future.
Separate table, yeah.
Yeah, in a separate table. I really don't think we want this up at Molloy.
So this is a new use that we're proposing in general. Like it does not show up in our code at all. So
Okay.
Malloy Park and Battle, we're not proposing at this time to change any of their uses. So
Okay.
unfortunately, that does mean things that we've combined, such as pawn shops and grocery stores and stuff like that, all under retail, that will still show up in their zoning tables because it shows up there now,
Okay.
which is a little bit frustrating, but again, we're not proposing to touch
Okay.
anything until we work out something with the school district, at which point they would definitely have to be involved in what uses would then be allowed.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good. Just, yeah. Thinking out loud.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, anything else on page 17?
Hold on, Michael?
No.
No, I think we've covered mine. Go ahead, Daryl.
I just have a clarification. Madison, I think you said it earlier, but I kind of missed half of it.
Okay.
Short-term rentals,
Yes.
that, legally, we have to do that.
So the way our code is currently written right now in chapter 6, which is where the business licenses live, I think. Any place that has residents, if you have a residential property, you are legally allowed, as long as you haven't met the cap and you owned it for 2 years and or you live on the property and only renting a percentage of it, you are legally allowed to use it as short-term rental. The only reason why there's that asterisk there is because of the 100 block. We are allowing it on the first floor and exempting the 2-year ownership requirement for historically designated properties. But otherwise, if you have a residential property, you are allowed to short-term rent it pending all of the other.
We don't have
Okay,
any,
let's hold on
any
here.
historical.
You have to
On
have,
100
you have
block
to have a
currently,
2-year.
it's short-term renting, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was just put in.
Yep.
Currently.
Okay, I understand what Madison was just saying. So Madison, then, R1, R2, and R3, for example. Long as someone's living there permanently. And, okay,
As long as someone's living there permanently, you can exempt the 2-year ownership requirements, like,
Okay.
and you can only rent out a certain percentage, I can't remember if it's 33% or 66%, but it might be 33%. But if you owned it for longer than 2 years, you do not have to live on the property, you can short-term rent the whole property.
As long as the license is still available.
Right.
Because we have a 10% at the moment, which is 50 out.
Okay,
We
It's a
still
50 or 10% cap, whichever is less,
is currently,
which is 50. 50 is the less.
okay, thank you.
Jeff? Page 18. You still there, Matt?
I'm still here.
Good. Okay, anything? I noticed that the home, do we not have home occupation definition further in the packet, don't we, later?
We have standards for home occupation, but I don't think we have a definition because we haven't gotten to that section.
Okay, so,
Home occupation is the one that's less impactful to a neighborhood. You don't have an employee,
you don't have people coming to the house.
you don't necessarily
Yes.
have people coming to the house
Yes.
regularly, that you can still see clients on an employment basis in there. Home business is the one that's more intensive. You can have an employee, you do see clients regularly, that kind of stuff.
And do you need a license for both? Okay, so Eric, I should have gone to you. Go ahead. I apologize.
He doesn't.
You don't have
you
to.
have it.
Hungry,
Same. I'm also
That's a call to
starving.
order.
You get asked the one question.
Parklet?
What is it?
Yeah, no, we're all dying to know what it is.
Oh,
What?
okay, okay, so, have y'all been to Frisco recently, driving through on like Fridays and Saturdays, where they take up parking spaces to extend their retail out on the street?
Yeah.
Like
It's
the
really
COVID
cool, that's what a
effects.
parklet is.
Okay.
They do it in downtown or in like old school Aurora too.
Okay.
I think Meadow Springs does it
Rango
too.
and Crested Butte and.
It's just a way to more efficiently use
But it's only
space.
on the weekends,
I don't know.
or it can be made that way.
No, some places it's
So then we're
converted.
gonna be losing
I
all the
mean-
parking spots in downtown
For
for
fun.
people to put merchandise out to them.
For fun.
Yeah, for fun.
And for sales tax.
I
People
I
like
had
parking.
I had no idea what that was, and you know that I commented on Frisco before, and our boot people off the streets at night because you need parking, but I love parking meters, but good luck with that, but that's what we're gonna need. But that being said, the parklet, I don't have a problem with the parklet, I would think that we have to come up with some type of top, like, it can't be a parklet for like 60 days.
There's gonna be standards for the parklet.
I don't
That's
think you
my
can just.
question.
Okay, that's what, very
Is
good.
it every block,
You
or
have
is it just a
standards for
certain amount of
parklet?
feet per block?
So, you can't do a parklet on a CDOT highway.
No.
So there are standards, draft standards
Where
for a
we put these
parklet.
parklets.
Well, you could do a
But-
parklet on
On Nelson,
a Nelson, or you could do a parklet on
Hold on, Matt.
Toledo,
Toledo, Eagle Street.
no, because there's no business back
No,
there.
no, no.
It would have to be where there's a business applied to
Adjacent
it.
to businesses.
Why?
Bike
We
shop.
don't have a standard yet. Can we do a parklet on Eagle River?
Well, the parklet,
Behind 1904 in them.
Yeah, behind the bike shop.
Yeah,
Parklet, there's
As long as you're not
standards,
blocking that street.
standards for parklet on page 40.
Thank you.
You definitely couldn't just do.
Oh, we were not gonna go past 18.
We're not.
yeah,
No, but we
Saying.
know they're there. We'll read them.
I'm just making,
Because I don't see you
Tired
putting
of
and
reading.
blocking the Eagle Street on the backside.
Well, you couldn't block traffic.
No, you'd have to.
Yeah, they just take up places of parking spots.
yeah, it would be a parking spot on a town-owned street that's, cause you can't control
There are no parking
Highway
spots back there.
24.
There's parking spots behind 102 Main. That's where like their trash cans sit and where their tenants are.
Well, there's, yeah, behind Alpine Pine and the
Is
Bible.
40.
That always.
They can take up their own.
Alright, well, I'm done.
And then like we have on-street parking on Nelson that you could probably poke out into, that kind of stuff.
Minturn Market is a giant parklet.
Yes, it
Basically,
is.
it is.
Exactly.
The Minturn Market is a parklet.
Oh, man,
But it's one day a week.
thank God the crate
That's-
place
yeah.
came back.
Right? I am so hopeful that they will be a repeat.
Oh,
Are they back?
they were back, like,
What?
as soon as
The
my
crate
son
place.
told me they were there, bam. we're back to the market.
And they're at
Crazy.
Thursday's Vales Market also.
Who
On
is?
Thursdays?
Tomorrow.
The crepes.
What are you talking about?
Oh, the crepe place.
So good.
That lady makes that crepe like a piece of art. Everyone.
Great.
I would like us just to get off the hook.
I would like crepe.
Fish place.
Yeah.
And hey.
I
Oh,
remember,
that's
I like
Hey.
He's got it on his phone, so he knows when it's
the guy
coming.
that would make the euros.
Coming.
Remember that?
Let them relax a minute, Scott.
Italian sausage there.
Okay,
My go to bed reminder just went off, so let's.
you're a wuss.
Without dinner.
I'm gonna be asleep
Cross
like
words.
by
I
9
don't
o'clock.
actually go to bed until 1 o'clock most nights, but
This reminder goes.
Yeah, I don't either.
I gotta get up at 4:30 regardless, so I've been
Okay,
looking.
where are we?
90% of my iPad power. I'm gonna run out.
Page 18, Eric, do you have
Nothing,
anything?
nothing,
No,
nothing.
Matt,
Nothing.
Mike,
Oh, I got my Parkland information. That's all I was wondering what the heck Parkland was. I think my brain was cooked to get to page 40.
I have, I'm just not gonna like this one, but I question having foul in the downtown area.
Having what?
Foul,
Foul.
foul.
Oh, that's because the current regulations on keeping of fowl in this code now allow it wherever residences are.
Yeah.
Since there are residences within the downtown, you can theoretically have chickens in the downtown now.
I mean, I don't have a problem with foul keeping per se, but I think in a commercial zone and with people who are sensitive to bird flu, I do not think it should be there. It's going to be affecting it could affect your restaurants and everything.
Well, see,
Can we just put an N and then if the residents.
as long as we don't have any current foul down there, we can probably put it in.
I mean, I just don't want,
I can certainly take that as a recommendation and
Yeah.
condition.
I recommend no foul in
Our people help
downtown.
your people and then, you know.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, I'm okay with no foul. If someone currently had foul, it would be wrong to tell them they can't have foul, but if we have no foul in the 100 block, I don't think we need, so 1, 2, we got a third on the,
I'm calling foul on foul.
come on, man, come on. You killed your rooster.
I know, I did.
So 1, 2.
Two, anyone else? No
Lynn,
foul?
aren't you a third on the no foul?
No foul.
There we go.
Yeah.
Direction. Sorry, Jeff.
It's okay, I don't live there.
Bird flu is becoming a real thing. I have friends who won't let their kids pick up a feather in the yard because they're afraid they're gonna get bird flu.
I used to work for the CDC and I had fowl, I'd go draw blood from fowls for encephalitis and bird flu and all that.
Multiple family bone.
Wow, are you on that monkey island?
I'm not bringing you guys any fresh eggs.
Okay,
I voted for you.
Wait,
are we,
No,
are we all
Daryl gets
set?
eggs.
Anything
Daryl
else?
gets eggs. Daryl.
I'm looking to
18.
see, we're on 18. Michael, nothing on 18?
No.
Here's a no.
So we're gonna, if we're stopping on 18, we're gonna, so.
I have no 18s.
Nor do I.
But we have to go back. Direction,
Oh, no.
number 1.
Justin, we're all getting along.
Clarify, see that we have something in writing on mixed use 3 smaller lots on Pine Street. We need to discuss that further. If I can get those people to come in, I will. 400 block, 500 block, and 2 Elk Estates. We need something that shows us that that is what we are deciding, so that when we okay it here, we know it's not for that.
What about 2 Elk Estates?
They wanted, you were talking about taking side setbacks down to 5, and they have 10, and they want to keep it that way.
Yes, we do.
So they
Aren't
want
we
to keep their
gonna-
land the way we do, like we want to keep ours, and like they want to keep theirs.
Lynn, aren't we gonna address that when we get down to the
The dimensional
the
standard.
dimensional parts?
Those directives down.
I think
I'm,
page 20, page 20.
but we're okaying the mixed uses for those areas here. That's where I get confused. Amanda doesn't, what? Never mind.
So,
I'm making it a direction that we have something, that it is in the works, that we are thinking of eliminating.
yes, yes.
And then, Michael, you had something on page 11 that you wanted to make a direction for.
Yes.
Back to me being the mean guy.
Which page?
11.
Page 11, the classification of unlisted uses is where I was talking about being more clear and not vague, and the fact that planning and zoning and or council is here every 2 weeks, so I think that sometimes, and if, Scott and Madison are here forever, then they know, where we're all at, but if eventually staff changes and things change, and I think that in multiple areas besides just this area, but we can,
What you're saying is you want it passed before planning and zoning.
Everything?
yes,
More specific guidelines that are stated out.
and to come in front of planning and zoning.
For,
Determinations of unlisted uses?
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah, well, one of our
You
goals
decide.
was to make this process, when we deal with the public, easier and not as cumbersome. So that's A, something I've never heard of in any jurisdiction, and B, will make things more cumbersome for Joe Public.
Can we ask how often do we get unlisted uses?
Once every 5 years.
So
Okay.
there we go.
So then,
Done with that, in 8 years, I think I've made two use determinations for uses that were not specifically listed as uses in the use table.
okay, so with that type of volume, and then that unlisted use is then going to then become a listed use after you make that determination, or would you just, like, what?
It wouldn't show up in the use table. I would just make a similar use determination to say, whatever this person that's proposing this use, it's not specifically listed because you can't, I suppose you could, but you can't list every use in the universe in a use table, else it'd be 50 pages long. It's already 5 pages long. So that's the whole point of that provision that exists in those codes, to say if it doesn't show up in this table, but it's a similar use, then someone who is trained and has knowledge and is an officer of the town or the jurisdiction can make that determination. And then there's always the appeal process if people don't agree with that.
Okay, but to Michael's point, and I think this is where, like, and to Lynn's point, like, we want to be as transparent to the public as possible. So if you're making that decision, and how does that then decision get communicated to the community, so that if it wasn't just the person that was asking for the use, but then somebody else wanted to appeal your decision, like, that's, I think, where the question is, because I don't see that in here where, like, I know somebody else could appeal it, but they have to know that it went on.
Sure.
I think that if it's so minimal, as Scott says, it's so minimal, and we don't need to do something that, like I said, we don't wanna do something to where it could set a precedence, even if it was a difference of opinion, to where it could set a precedence with somebody else that wanted to do something, and because it's so minimal, then it should be even more easy to have it.
Well, can I make a suggestion? Madison currently, when she does something like that, at our next meeting, gives us a report. And you can have something like that put before you in your packet.
This is
And
bigger,
we can talk about it in this meeting,
But again,
public.
this is bigger than that though, man.
this is bigger. This is you are giving somebody a use on their property.
That we're going through approved uses right now, and it's not in that use, then it can be determined by staff that it might fall
I think it
under,
needs to come before us.
I agree. It's a
there's 3.
There's 3.
Anybody else wanna roll with the 3?
I don't agree, but I feel like the uses of something, if it's that difficult to figure out that there's not a parallel use that's so similar, then it's probably not allowed.
so here's like
So you're saying that we shouldn't have any approval whatsoever?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that somebody comes in and they say that they wanna do something that, like, for instance, they said, like what we talked about tonight, I wanna do gardens, 8150. And he looks in the table and he says, well, it doesn't say concert venue, but there's performing arts, and there's this, and there's a lot of things that are just very similar. They're just not the same word that you used, but it is the same use. And I feel like you guys are scared of a use that is not listed, that is so different from some other use.
We're not scared of anything.
Well,
We got 3 votes.
I know, but
Okay.
I just think it should come if it's
Sorry.
really an unlisted use, that there should be a conversation and transparency about it.
I agree.
It's not about like, I just feel like, I don't know, it
That's
just,
all
and if it's only every 5 years, then what's the harm of having it come here?
I'm gonna hire Amanda as
Yeah,
my
if it's once
spokesperson.
every 5 years, why not have it coming?
Yeah, like, I mean,
Doesn't
it
set a
may
precedent.
and be the same result, like, oh, it's closest to this, and we need to then update the description for that use, so that going forward, yeah, we got it.
No, and they're obviously gonna say, we think that it's this, and if it holds somebody up for a week or two, in 1 and 5 year period, it's not an issue, but, and it's,
I agree. I hear where you're coming from.
all right. So we're gonna finish, last question, I think so we've got direction on that, just for clarity, and.
I have an example of an unlisted use stuff, by the way.
So yes, you listed your example, but I also need to know as well, before we close out the meeting, if in our next meeting, we're gonna come back and start on page 19,
19.
plus whatever else you give us.
Or whatever page that actually is in the memo, because it's 19
Yeah,
in
yeah.
this packet.
Yep.
I don't know what that page
No, I
is.
just made a note, start
Yes.
here.
And we'll be starting.
We're getting real close to building that.
Well, you better read your notes, mister, don't put them in the trash.
Oh, I won't.
No, at the next meeting, we still will not be talking about determining building.
Don't worry,
just
don't
building
worry,
numbers.
I was, Scott and I are here.
So I have on here, those were
Well,
the 2
I'm done thinking about it.
directions we needed to go to.
Yes,
The next direction item was the arts center and the bakeries. We've already got that, right?
Yep.
Okay, so then we're done with them.
I move that we adjourn.
Nope, we're not
No,
done yet.
Jen?
Oh, Jen.
We're not done yet.
Jen, we're gonna do a Jen.
No, we're not done yet.
Huh?
We're
Oh,
not
you,
done yet.
no, he's got comments.
Yes, under manager's update, I don't have anything for manager's update, however, you will see in front of you printout of a draft schedule, actually more than draft schedule, it's a pretty finalized schedule for DDA, Plan of Development Midterm Workshop Set schedule. If you would like to be involved in this and participate in any of the interview slots that are listed on this schedule, please reach out to Cindy Krieg at events@minturn.org to express your willingness to participate or give her a call. I don't remember her extension at this time. I told her I would pass this out. It has been passed out.
Thank you.
That is all that I needed to update you on. Now we can adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Future meetings?
For 2025.
Future meeting?
Okay.
Oh,
Never mind.
Future meeting, the next one is October 8th.
Which Amanda will not be here. October 22nd. We're bringing up now because 1, I won't be here. 2, Scott will be here to put the packet together. So we were thinking about polling whether or not we can take advantage of the 5th Wednesday of the month and move the October 22nd meeting to October 29th if we have a quorum.
that sounds amazing.
When's
That
Halloween?
works better for me too.
Halloween's the
because I
30th.
have-
It's the 31st.
That's good. October
Oh,
30th.
30th.
Wait,
Always
I
better
need to
saying.
go home and look at my calendar, but I
Always
think I
better
works for
saying.
me too.
Alright, if anybody has any questions or just wants to get back to me, preferably within the next, like, I don't know, 7 days, so I can have this finalized before I leave.
29th is Thursday.
No, it's,
It's a
Wednesday.
it's the 5th Wednesday of the month.
I'm fine with that.
I don't think, I'm pretty sure I'm here.
My son told me he wants Halloween to himself.
What's that?
I think Cole said he, no.
Gotta
And then
find that
on
Sunday
the
thing, I know
meeting
I
of the 8th, can I, give my notes on the packet and open questions?
Please send them to Scott, again, as I will not.
What is this on?
So
For the
unless you
meeting?
get them to me before the second, if you get them to me before the second, I can include them in the packet.
I will, because I leave on the second.
Oh, great, perfect. Anything after the second needs to go to Scott.
Okay, great.
Oh, and that's our next meeting on this, plus whatever else we get.
Yeah, so I just wanna, because I have other
Like a
questions
summary.
throughout the rest of the document, I wanna go back through and make sure they're.
I'm sure you just something.
Any questions, comments?
Make motion to
Just-
adjourn
No,
tonight.
no, I just wanna thank both of you guys. I know this is difficult.
It is. but I
And
appreciate that.
we really appreciate everything you do, all your hard work.
And Matt,
And Matt,
And Matt,
just kidding, Matt.
Matt's
Sorry,
the
Matt.
heavy lifter here
Yeah,
behind
but
the
anyway,
scenes.
I know this is difficult and it's hard conversations, and we do appreciate both of you.
And we realize that a lot of this is gobbledygook and sometimes new to you guys. And if I had known that the maps were hard to read, for me, it's just like, oh yeah, it's right there. I get it because I've been doing it for so long. But if you're reading the stuff and you don't get it, please call us and say, hey, can we get a different map or can you make it easier on us? So I apologize, and we're not trying to make this harder than it already is. So,
We appreciate
There,
it.
just trying to get the sausage perfect at the end.
yeah, you think of all the things that you caught tonight that we've been looking at this for a long time, and we're still either not catching stuff or you're bringing a different perspective to the table saying, do you really mean to make this a use by right? You know, it's good stuff. That's what we're here for, so.
Well, we appreciate it as well as we know that Matt's making notes on everything and our new process that we're working on helps spell it out, because it's very hard for us, even though you work on it every day, to go back to like 4 meetings ago, try to find the packet and cross-reference it to the,
Yeah.
anyway,
Can I
so.
make one suggestion? I don't know if it's possible, if we're redoing a zoning map so that it's more readable. For the average person to go through that and say, where am I? If there might be some just little side marks that this is the 400 to 700 block area, this is where the bridge comes in for the park out there or something like that. So that they have a few identified spots as they go through it that they can figure out.
We can make it that big, Lynn, right there on the
I
wall.
don't think you have to. I think a map like that with just some little side comments would work.
Okay, we have one better.
And we could look at maps that kind of break the town out into sections when we finally adopt it. So there's the whole map and then there's specific
Different
sections.
specifics, yeah.
Ultimately,
Yeah.
we do need something that someone goes on a computer and they can move it around and they can zoom in and pick their property. That's the goal.
Yeah, I mean, even if you could click on MU2 and it just showed you that section, that would be great.
Okay, anybody else? Anything else? Anything from the manager's report? Okay.
Make a motion to close tonight's meeting or.
Second.
Motion by Aaron, second by Jeff, meeting closed.
I wanna go as far as asking.
I just wanna know what Eric's
Yeah.
putting in his belly.